go straight to the other side. Shit, you guys on YouTube, give me a minute. I gotta reset everything because on the TikTok side we logged into the completely into the wrong profile, so it's gonna be about a 20-second delay on getting the program going because we are on the wrong side. So I will switch over momentarily, and we should be able to get the program going in all of less than 20 seconds here. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and click the live. Start it out. And we're starting in three, two, one. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. So I want to make sure everything's going good. All right. So we're going to be talking about the fact that we now have a vice presidential candidate with Trump, and that is J.D. Vance, as you see on the monitor behind me. For any of you folks who may be wondering, we didn't do it live earlier because the typical in-car show, it was almost 100 degrees out today. So, damn it, I decided I didn't want to be in the car. So, that's why you're seeing me coming to you from the makeshift studio with a cleaner screen on TikTok. So, I want to ask you folks something because I see in the comments, user 534 saying JD Vance, LOL, laughing my ass off. Well, we can certainly start out by asking, what do you think of his VP pick? What do you think of President Trump picking JD Vance as a running mate? Now, what I want to ask you in regards to JD Vance is an actual quote. This came from JD Vance earlier today. I mean, not earlier today, but this weekend. You know, President Trump, someone tried to take the life of the former president. This is a quote from J.D. Vance. Today is not just some isolated incident. The central premise of the Biden campaign is that President Donald Trump is an authoritarian fascist who must be stopped at all costs. That rhetoric led directly to President Trump's attempted assassination. Wow. So I want to ask you folks, do you believe that Biden's description, Biden has this dark red video, where he addressed the nation with two Marines on each side talking about, what did he call it, ultra MAGA or something like that? Do you believe that President Biden's rhetoric led to the assassination attempt on Trump? Because that is what Vice President J.D. Vance has stated. Now, this is only a few hours or a day or so before he became the vice presidential candidate. But do you agree with J.D. Vance that had it not been for the words of President Biden, no hit would have been placed on Trump's life? Do you place the assassination attempt on Trump's life directly at the feet of President Biden? I would seriously love to hear you guys answer. Now in the comments, this is one that's interesting. I something Lahorden Wilson or something like that. You're saying, really, Tim? This is a quote. This isn't coming from yours truly. This is a quote from J.D. Vance. He stated that Biden is calling Donald Trump an authoritarian fascist and saying he must be stopped at all costs. And he's saying Biden's rhetoric led directly to President Trump's attempted assassination. That's not something I'm throwing out there. That's what J.D. Vance, now the vice presidential candidate of the United States, stated. So I'm just simply asking, do you believe what he stated is true? Now, looking in the comments, Mikey says your favorite website is Google. This ain't got nothing to do with Google, though. This is an actual quote from J.D. Vance, so I don't know where Google comes in on that. By the way, folks, to start the program off, I know it's later than usual. Tap the screen, get the likes on up. We'd love to see it around 10,000. Certainly will help out the algorithm. You know the program is always shall remain MAGA friendly. We've been that way since day one. I want to ask you in regards to a secondary topic as well. I'm assuming most of you guys all know that the documents case against President Trump, Jack Smith's documents case, has been completely thrown out. Now he does have the ability to appeal it, but damn, I mean, this you'd be lucky to see this case tried in 2025. I mean, the judge for President, the judge over that case, I'm about to say the judge for President Trump, because many believe that the judge is operating as an agent of Trump, but the judge did throw the case out. Now in the comments, you guys have some hell of a names today, but somebody stated to throw the judge out. Well, the judge is no longer in the case anymore. Once the judge threw the case out, that judge is now out of it. But I think most folks believed that judge was going to rule in favor of Trump no matter how the case ended. But here it is. The judge threw the case completely out under the guise that Jack Smith was not appointed properly. Wow. Wow. To hold that case all of those months and then come back with this is insane. I got to think. Why not do this in the beginning? Why would you entertain a case from somebody that was not appointed properly and let it go on for months and then at the end say, well, you don't have a right to be here? Why not do that in the beginning? It really looks like there was some type of plot or agenda behind that. You could have done that a long time ago and gave them time to go and get somebody else or whatever the case may be. But yeah, to delay that case all of that time and then decide, well, he don't have a right to be here. We're going to throw it out. Wow. Shout out to President Trump. I have to ask, if you are President Trump, consider how many victories he's had in court, not in terms of being found not guilty, but finding other ways to win cases. Is there any real need for President Trump to obey the law? Shit, you gotta admit this guy's coming off like Teflon. Does he really have to obey the law? In my humble opinion, he's gonna get off no matter if he break the law or obey it. Looking in the comments, dealing with homelessness with 3 job interviews. Sorry to hear that, Darcy. Who Joe the Hoe? Joe? Oh, Joe and the Hoe. Okay, so Joe, and I'm assuming you're referring to Kamala Harris as a hoe. All right. Wow. Host, are you going to speak out against the people here saying the assassination was staged? We discussed that the other day or two. At the end of the day, was the assassination staged? Maybe, maybe not. You know what I always ask. Anytime somebody says the election was stolen or any of this stuff, show me evidence. Show me evidence. Until I see some solid evidence that, let's say, the election was stolen, or, in this case that, the assassination attempt was staged or any of this. Until I see evidence, I got to go with the information given by the authorities that were in charge there that day, until I see something otherwise. I've stated before, I do believe Trump could live to be 110 years old. And when he passes away at 110, somebody will say it was a hit. There's going to be conspiracy around Trump for the rest of his life. No matter how old he gets, whenever he passes away, somebody's going to say there was something to how he died. It just is what it is. Looking in the comments, though, what about the evidence of a bad ruling in the Florida case? Well, I believe the judge in Florida is a friend of Trump. Trump appointed her, and I do believe that she was favorable to President Trump from day one. So going into the box, asking that question, do you believe President Biden, which is what J.D. Vance is saying, do you believe Biden is indeed responsible for the assassination attempt on President Trump? Mac White, good afternoon, or better yet, good evening, Mac. Yeah, thank you for the hat mustache and Novocaine. As Mac White, good evening. Mac White, are you there?
What's up, man?
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey. So I don't believe, yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe the Democrats or Biden had it. I think it was the old school Republicans trying to take their party back from the magma.
Wow. So you believe it was a traditional Republican hit job on Trump? Okay, Mac, you obviously, something's going on wrong with the signal there. I'm going to have to drop him because the signal's going in and out. I'd like to hear the rest of that, though. He believes it was the old school Republicans that do not want Trump in place that may have been responsible for it. Folks are stating the stage, it was a hit. I mean, there is something behind it. Right now, we're under the understanding that it was a lone wolf. 20-year-old doing that on his own is a bit unlikely. So I can understand why folks are suggesting it may be some type of staged event, a setup, or something else. A 20-year-old doing that by himself. Now, I will say this, and I see Joy Ann in the comments says it makes sense. There's a legitimate case to be made. Trump is not necessarily favorable to a hell of a lot of Mitt Romneys and Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Lindsey Graham too, but Liz Cheney, a lot of the traditional Republicans, Jeb Bush, Trump has not been friendly to them either. So when someone suggests it was the traditional Republicans that tried to take Trump out, that's not necessarily something you can toss in the waste bin. If you believe the liberals are capable of doing it, Trump has been damn near just as hard on traditional Republicans as he has been on the liberals. So that's not necessarily something I would throw right out. Let me try to go back to the box. We had trouble with my last guest. We'll try with one of my subscribers, Gerald. Good afternoon, Gerald. Better yet, good evening. Pence didn't even give Trump his endorsement. No, Mac, Pence is done with Trump. And that is unusual to have Trump run again and his own vice president does not even show up at the Republican National Convention. Good evening, Gerald.
What's going on, handsome liberal?
Good to have you on.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. So do you see J.D. Vance, Trump's choice for vice president, is saying that Biden is responsible for Trump's assassination attempt because of his rhetoric. Do you agree with that?
I do not. I don't think either side is guilty of that. I mean, I know the rhetoric it's divisive to the country. Period. Yeah. I mean, it is. Trump's more divisive than any. He's the name caller. He's the guy that personally attacks people. He'll argue points, and he might have good points, but he spends more time making fun of people who are crippled or pointing out everybody's personal flaws. Yeah. If he shut his mouth up, he probably would have been president the last time.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. I think that on paper, Trump was worthy of a second term, and I agree with you. If he wasn't so bombastic, tweeting things out and insulting people, he would be completed in the second term. I do believe that.
He treated it like it's a reality show.
Yeah. Well, but you can't argue with him. His fans, his supporters were eating it up. I mean, when Trump called somebody a name or something, his supporters loved that stuff.
Oh yeah. But we're running a country here. We're not running a reality show.
That's a good point. He said we running the country. That's a good point.
It's not a reality show.
So, but how do you think Biden is done? Would you rather have Trump back?
No. I'm still afraid of Trump because I don't think he has intentions of doing some of the things, but I think the support he puts around him, the people he listens to, will drive him to those decisions. You know, I mean, freaking Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, he'll drive him to these kind of crazy decisions. You know, everybody talking about, Trump, he got nothing to do with 2025, Project 2025, but look at all the people who wrote it and trace them back.
Yeah, I would say at this point, Trump stating he doesn't know anything about 2025 or doesn't have anything to do with it and all that, it's a hard sell because there's a lot of information online, a lot of videos of Trump actually at the Heritage Foundation speaking positively of him, saying they have the best vision for this country. And not to mention, the fact is, when it comes to Project 2025, a lot of former members of his own administration are the ones that wrote part of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So he knows. But even, that's why, I've heard the comment, and I didn't say this comment, I think it was Obama who said the comment that Trump wasn't really interested in running the country. He was interested in winning. He wasn't interested in running. So if you're not interested in running, then you're going to let your cabinet run you.
Wow.
You're not going to run your cabinet.
So you think...
And your cabinet's
but think about it this way. A lot of folks said Trump only wanted to run to keep himself out of jail. I think it's safe to assume he's not going to jail whether he wins or loses at this point. So what is he running for?
Exactly. To win.
Yeah.
That's it. Just to win. He doesn't want to. It just didn't feel like he wanted to. He made some good decisions, you know, in the economic side. You know, I made money under Trump's administration. I made money under Biden. I actually made more money under Biden's administration than I did under Trump. But still, I made money under the Trump administration. Yeah. And I made money under the Biden administration. Oh. But I just didn't like the social policies, and I didn't like some of the things that his mouthpieces were driving him to do. Yeah.
So you didn't buy into the fuck your feelings crowd.
No.
Yeah, because the reason I'm saying that because you're holding him accountable for what came out of his mouth, and folks who support Trump but don't really care about what he says in terms of insults are the ones that are yelling "fuck your feelings" or mean tweets shouldn't hurt you and things like that.
Well, think about it. If you have something substantive to say, you would say that. Yeah. You don't need the name call. You don't need to call him big head or look at the crippled guy, or throw him out of here. If you have something substantive to say, you would say that.
Well, but for his supporters, that is substantive too.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. They like it. Yeah, they cheer that shit on.
That's sad. So let's say that's his mentality and that's what he does. He's spending all this time, chasing every little comment made about him. Who's running the country? I'm back to his cabinet. That's who's running the country. That's who's making small decisions that you don't see. That's pushing him in a certain direction. It has to be. He's not running it.
That's an interesting point, and he will indeed chase down every insult that comes his way. He likes to fight. So you could be a high schooler you could be a high schooler in the middle of Nebraska somewhere. If you say something negative about Trump and it goes viral, he will attack you back.
Oh yeah.
So,
he'll come after you.
Yeah.
And who has time for that? You're running the largest company, the largest industry in the world, basically.
Yeah.
You're the CEO of the largest industry in the world.
He likes it. Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. So do you agree or do you believe too that if he becomes president, he's going to be taking revenge out on his adversaries?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so because if he does that, he's killing every Republican after him. But I do think that he will be taking actions that it won't be overt, is what I'm saying. I guess is what I'm saying. If he did anything, it's going to be covert. It's going to be hidden in, I'm going to change this law. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pack that. I'm going to do that. And that's going to be his revenge. Not so much because I don't even think his cabinet would go for that. Let's just all start.
Well, wait a minute. If he gets a cabinet full of loyalists, they won't have an option whether to go for it or not.
That's true. That's true.
So
that's true. I agree with that.
It remains to be seen. All right, Gerald. I do got to move it on, but yeah.
Also,
huh?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, they threw out that case. So if no special prosecutor can be appointed, then that means everybody's no special prosecutor can be, including Biden's son.
It is amazing. It's like it's like they're paving a way in new territory. Like you're knocking the snow off of railroad tracks just so Trump can go down that avenue. I mean, like you're right. Other people may follow him down. I mean, they're creating new ground. So, in my opinion, they're creating new ground just to save him. I don't know why they're doing that.
Right. If you do, guess what? It saves everybody else too.
Yeah.
Because the laws don't just apply to Trump.
It leaves.
They change him back after he's back.
Yeah. It does leave room for somebody else to come through and commit an act of mayhem. I got to move it on, though, Gerald. Appreciate you coming through.
All right, brother.
Anytime.
Yeah.
So that's what we're asking today, folks. And by the way, tap the screen. Get the number. It'll help get the numbers up. But tap the screen. Get the likes up to about 20,000. It's 200 of you in here. A smaller audience. It's a Monday evening, and it is what it is. It's later, but I do appreciate those who are tapping the screen. Looking in the comments. What the handsome liberal after hours? Yeah. Listen. It's like almost 100 degrees during the day. Just today it got really hot, so The in-car show had to be postponed just simply due to the scorching amount of heat. I think it was like 106 or some shit with the heat index, lots of humidity. I'm like, I'm just gonna do this tomorrow. And when I got in, I had enough on the mind that I wanted to come talk to you folks. Certainly with JD Vance been appointed. Here is what we're talking about, by the way. And thank you folks that are tapping the screen. Same on YouTube. Smash that like button. Once again, the program is always uncensored. You know how the program is ran. We are MAGA friendly. Been that way since day one. Always have been, always will be. MAGA are my preferred guests. Liberals are welcome as well. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone. So you don't have to agree with anybody in the comment section or even the host. All about free speech here. Alter ego, yeah! Thank you for the hat and mustache. So understand when you're in the box, you're in the comment section. If you disagree with somebody, nobody gives a damn. It's all about free speech here. Here is the quote. As some of you new folks are coming in. Here's the quote from Vice Presidential candidate J.D. Vance. This came in probably a day or so before Trump nominated him. But here is the actual quote. Today is not just some isolated incident. The central premise of the Biden campaign is that President Donald Trump is an authoritarian fascist who must be stopped at all costs. That rhetoric led directly to President Trump's attempted assassination. That is what J.D. Vance is saying. He is blaming Biden specifically for Trump's attempted assassination. I'm asking you folks, do you agree flat out with J.D. Vance? Going back to the box, and I see Wolverine right off says truth in all caps. We'll go straight to Trigger. Good afternoon, better yet, good evening. Both sides don't have anyone that will serve them. Triggy Wiggy, good evening.
Hey, Ansel.
Hey, good to have you on, man. So do you see Biden's rhetoric as responsible for the hit on Trump?
No. I mean, apparently people ain't listening to what Trump is saying. Every single rally, campaign stomp, every single time that he gets on Twitter, all of the stuff that he's been saying.
Yeah. Give me some.
I mean, you know, it's so much stuff that he's been saying that you just be like, did this guy just say that?
Give me some examples of something you believe Trump has said that could be violence promoting rhetoric.
He was at a campaign rally when he first was running, right? And he was like, get them outside of here. And you kick his ass, and guess what? And if you need a lawyer, I'll pay for it.
Yeah, he did say that. He did say that.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, calling Liz Cheney literally like out her name is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Calling
So is it a case?
Brainless this and brainless that, and you know, the pitiful Democrat. It's so much that you just be like, dude, I'm not gonna even be able to keep up with your man.
Wow. Now let me give you this. Big Bird on YouTube said, in caps, you can't say Biden is responsible and turn around and say Trump isn't for January 6th. Do you agree with that?
Now, you know what? I don't know why people don't really understand about J6, right? The bottom line is he stood up on the podium and revved his people up. And then the first thing he said was, hey, let's go hit the Capitol. And we're going to fight like hell. And we're going to do what we need to do. We're going to take our country back. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but what about the part where he suggested they go peacefully and patriotically?
much of that did you hear as opposed to let's go fight like hell?
Yeah, I think the majority of it was violent. Yeah.
He didn't say that, he sat here and, hey, patriotically, don't do anything. Be peaceful. That was after
Yeah.
he told them to go take your country back. How many people have you ever heard that ever been in office that they was out there and given an okay to hang their vice president?
Well, they weren't given the okay to do it. They just weren't told to stop doing it.
What? If they would have been able to get to Mike Pence, I promise you, it would have been some smoke and something going on.
You believe that if MAGA, and let me ask this question to the audience as well, by way of yes or no in the comments, how many of you folks believe that if that crowd had got to Mike Pence, they would have harmed him? By way of yes or no, do you believe if that crowd on January 6th had got to Mike Pence, they would have actually brought harm to him? You're saying, Trig, that you believe they would have hung the guy?
Yes.
Wow.
Without a doubt. If they would have been able to, let me just say this. With people in the comments right now, if those people would have been able to get to Nancy Pelosi, what do you think would have happened?
Yeah. Well, I think, Mike, there's a difference with MAGA between Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi has no chance. I mean, because they're laughing at her husband getting beaten by a hammer. So, yeah, I definitely think that Nancy Pelosi would have been in trouble.
And wait, and did you hear Trump? There's another one. Hey, he got beat up really, really bad. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Like, it was a joke for him. Or somebody to get hurt. And come on. I mean, when is he going to stop the division?
But what about looking at the Biden administration, Trig? Were you not doing better under Trump than you are under Biden? I mean, gas was cheaper, inflation was lower under Trump. Were you not better off financially under Trump?
Let me tell you, everybody wants to sit around here and talk about the couple checks that they got under Trump. I'm going to be honest with you. I worked every single day, even through COVID. So none of that affected me. None of it affected me.
So financially, you didn't see any difference in your own personal finances from Trump to Biden?
No.
All right, fair enough. And this is the question you hear all the time, but I got to move it on, Trig. Fair enough. So is it safe to assume you'll be voting red in November? You need a MAGA hat? I gotta go. Appreciate you coming on. All right, hey, appreciate it. Moving the program also, Trig is probably not gonna be voting red, sounds like. But looking in the comments, I hate what it says. I make triple now compared to what I made under Trump. Wow, now that's a change. Says Scott Reynolds, you make 3 times what you made under Trump. Financially, I got a different type of job than I had when I was working during my working years under Trump. I do make more now as well because my job is different. But I don't blame that on Biden. I didn't blame the job I had on Trump. A lot of this shit is based on your employer. One of the things that both Trump and Biden often talk about, their job numbers. We created jobs. One thing you never hear from Trump and very little from Biden, you've heard a little of it from Biden because there has been some change, but you didn't hear any of this from Trump at all, is the salaries of those jobs. You don't hear neither one of them bragging about, I created high-paying jobs. You can create a job. Shit, it could be a damn paper route. Just simply giving somebody a job ain't always saying shit. How much does that job pay in comparison to the inflation rate? And they don't talk about that. They just say, I created, 1 million jobs. Yeah, 1 million people all making minimum wage. Why fucking who? But under Biden, because the Democratic Party are fans of raising minimum wage, they do have a little bit more to say in terms of, well, we did raise some salaries because in liberal areas, minimum wages went up over the last 10 years or so. Gregory, yeah! Thank you for the hat and mustache. I bought my first home in 2008, got smoked, huh? Bought a second house in 2017. Best move so far in my 39-year-old life. Shout out to you. So you bought your first home at the end of the Bush administration because Obama didn't take office until 2009. 2008, is that the end of the housing crisis or is that right in the middle of it? Okay. And somebody says, Jay says, my last caller wants to be homeless. Oh my goodness. Going back to the box, we'll continue on with Chief Cook. Tap the screen. I understand it's a later hour. Get the likes up to about 30,000, folks. Appreciate that. Tap the screen. Chief Cook, good evening.
Hey, what's up?
Not much good.
I've seen you a lot of times on TikTok. I'm finally get a chance to talk to you.
Excellent. Good to have you here. So, J.D. Vance, do you have any opinions on him now being the vice presidential candidate?
Well, I was hoping for Stacey Gabbard. I thought we would have been better because she really cleaned the clock when she was going against Kamala Harris during the debate. And then she left, so that would be my first. I just think I just don't want to hear the same old stuff. Well, we just put another white man in a white VP.
I was gonna. You make a good point about Tulsi Gabbard. Some people were saying Candace Owens, but that is a good point. That you didn't pick a woman. You didn't pick a woman. You didn't pick a minority. You went with another white dude. So that will come up.
Yeah, I can see that tomorrow, especially on View and NBC. I ain't seen other shows yet. NBC. I know they're gonna say that tomorrow. Yeah. But he just picked another white person. I wish he was another minority or another woman. Like I said, no. I think even what's her name? What's her bachelor name? Nikki Haley.
Yeah.
Even the bring party together, other branch between both of them, and that would be my second choice.
Now, are you conservative?
Yeah, conservative independent. I'm an old school Reagan, Rush Limbaugh conservative.
Thank you, Ms. Z, for subscribing.
Responsibility.
I was giving. Go ahead.
Yeah. I said fiscal responsibility, small government, like them old school Reagan guys. I'm African American. I started by hearing Rush Limbaugh. That's how I got into it. Back in the day when Rush Limbaugh had his TV show at nighttime.
Right.
And I was listening after I was in high school, and I started listening, and I've been done ever since then. But I switched after independent. I came independent after the last after Trump.
Okay. So let me make sure I get this clear. So you said you're going back to the earlier days of Rush Limbaugh. So you would have voted for Bush twice, right? George W.
Yeah. My first, when I turned 18, my first person was Bush Senior, and at the time I didn't know what Democrat Republican was. I had a friend of mine. We just graduated from high school. I graduated in '92. I graduated from high school. My friend of mine joined the Marine Corps. He was going to Persian Gulf. I was just being patriotic. Have support the president because he's going in like that. I didn't know. You were an 18-year-old African American voting for the first time, and you voted for George H.W. Bush. Wow. Where are you from? Tennessee.
What's
actually Memphis?
You were an 18-year-old African American from Tennessee voting for George H.W. You know you rare.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm telling you why I got started with this. Like I said, I was going in, I went in the booth, I showed my thing, I said, I'm for the first time. And she said, well, who you a Democrat Republican? I said, I had no clue. I'm serious. I didn't have no clue who it was. And old black woman, she just looked at me like I'm crazy. Well, you don't vote Democrat. I'm like, says who? No, I just said who, because I didn't know anything about it. I just figured I was just one for Bush. And I didn't know the parts that I was just green. I was a greenhorn.
So let's progress it a little bit. After George H.W., who lost to Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton was in office for 8 years, so you didn't vote for Clinton either one of those times, right?
No, I didn't vote for Clinton. I did my research. Like I said, first I did my research and work hard. That's why I did. I did listen to Rush last time. I did did my homework. I studied Republican history, and I actually got a chance to talk to Rush Limbaugh as well. And I found out what happened is a black Democrat in the black community, KKK, and all that stuff. So I did my homework. I did my whole homework.
Now, okay, wait, hold on. So you didn't vote for Clinton either time. You did vote for George W. Bush both times. Did you vote for Obama at all?
No.
So you voted for Mitt Romney and John McCain?
Well, no, I didn't. Well, I'm back up. I voted for Bush Senior. Then Clinton ran. Then I think it was going Bob Dole. I said no, Bob Dole is not going to win it. So I didn't vote for Derek because I already knew Clinton was going to beat Dole. I could see the writing on the wall, so it don't make a difference. So I know Clinton was going to win that. Then Gore. Yeah, it was Gore. Gore and Bush. So Bush. I did vote W. Because I know Gore in Tennessee.
Okay, you voted for. I want to move it on. You voted for Bush. You didn't vote for John Kerry. You voted for Bush again. Did you vote for Obama either time?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So you voted for Mitt Romney and John McCain.
I didn't vote for McCain. I didn't vote for John McCain because I knew Obama was going to win him. I did vote for Romney because I did vote for Romney. That was a big mistake. No.
Wow. Now I'm just going to tell you, being an African American from Memphis with your voting resume, you got to be one of the only. You got to be that of a Clarence Thomas. I've never heard of a black person, particularly when it comes to Obama. You voted for Mitt Romney over Obama. That is a shocker. Wow.
Yeah, I know the story. Well, I'll tell you what happened. Okay. You remember the old thing he said, "You like your doctor, keep your doctor," kind of thing happened. The Obama term. I had my health care with my job, and make a long story short, I had a heart attack. Went to the hospital. Well, I thought it was a heart attack, and went in, fell asleep, woke up at 11 o'clock at night, and told me it was a heart attack. Thank God, it was something else. And by the way, you don't have any insurance. I said, wait a minute, I do have insurance. I got that for my job. I've been there for 2 or 3 years. And he said you don't have it, and then I found out I get kicked out thanks to Obamacare. He said you like your doctor, keep your doctor.
Right.
And I got kicked out.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I get it. So let me progress it on because I'm gonna have to move it on soon. But how do you favor Trump? I mean, did you vote? You voted for Trump every time so far?
I did vote the first time, and I did vote the second time, and then the second time I saw some stuff that he absolutely right. Something did happen. I'm not going to say anything long, but I actually saw a person saw that. So
what did you see? Wait. What did you see?
Well, group of old-timer patients with their nurse who has no clue where they are, what they doing, when they vote. And plus, I found out my grandfather who passed away, he voted. My dad.
Wait. I'm not. Yeah, you talking about voting? You talking about voter fraud? I'm asking you though. Did you vote for Trump in 16 and 20?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, all right. And you will be voting for him again, correct?
I will be voting this time.
Okay.
This time definitely. Not because of what happened yesterday or anything like that. Just what I saw in the last election. So that's why I'm doing that.
Wait. You're voting for him or against him? I'm not hearing.
I'm voting for him. Because what I saw fraud in the last election. That's why I'm voting for him.
All right, fair enough. I gotta move it on. We could talk a lot about the last election, but unfortunately, I gotta move it on. Hey, you're welcome back anytime, though, man.
Thank you, man.
Hey, anytime. An African American in the Memphis metropolitan area with that voting record. Wow. I'd have to meet the guy, but at the same time, I will submit to you that he's been watching Rush Limbaugh. I started watching Rush off and on back in '94. So I have watched Rush Limbaugh. In fact, I was calling in talking to Tom Sullivan when he used to be at Fox News, and John Gibson, and Brian Kilmeade, by the way, who's still on Fox News. Brian Kilmeade is still there with Fox and Friends in the Morning. They invited me out because I was debating, and actually a lot of the right-wingers on the morning shows, not the TV show, but they have radio shows as well. And I was calling in and debating the topics with other callers, and I was exciting the audience, for lack of a better term. To even though I was leaning left, folks was like, well, you're making so many good points. They actually invited me to the Fox News studios, which is why you occasionally see me with that picture sitting at Bill O'Reilly's desk. Back in 2015, I went out there to Fox to co-host one of the morning shows. But that voting record, as my last guess, was really a shocker. That was really a shocker. Looking in the comments, though, moving the program on, Rush was a father that all you liberals needed since yours failed. Well, you're assuming all liberals have no fathers, Brian Murray. Is that the case? All Republicans have dads and all liberals don't, huh? All right. I don't think he purposely lied. I think he just didn't know how it works, says Debo. All right. Rush started a lot of the political rhetoric calling liberal a dirty word years ago. Yeah, Rush Limbaugh was known for saying all kinds of crap. Like during the AIDS epidemic, he actually had a program where he was like making fun of each victim that they could figure out to die, because obviously there was a lot of LGBT deaths during the AIDS epidemic. Rush Limbaugh was making fun of that stuff, tallying up the numbers, and I mean, it was bad. Anyhow, going back to the box. Appreciate you folks that have been holding on. Tap the screen. Get your boy on up to about 35,000. A little difficult this time of night. I do appreciate some of you folks here. As I stated, it was a bit warm in the vehicle with 106 heat index in my local area, so I didn't do a show earlier today. Fry Daddy, good evening. Good to have you back on the program. So, JD Vance out there in Hey, you're in Pennsylvania, right?
I am, yeah.
What was up with the lab security? Why you didn't secure the president?
Bro, man, so here's a question I actually had for you about that, okay? So this goes back to let me ask you this question first. Had he took the guy out before he shot Trump, what do you think would have happened?
The Secret Service? None. They would have got away with it. Certainly when they went on the roof and identified him as someone who had no authority to be there with a long rifle, it ain't like the Democrats would have had an issue with it, and Trump supporters would have been like, so what? You go. Nothing.
You don't think he would have faced any criminal charges?
No. You're at an event. No, only time I've seen something wild like that, where in my opinion, the person is lucky they didn't get their ass shot. During the Obama administration, the Tea Party, which is now essentially MAGA, did not like Obama. And there was a Tea Party member that showed up to an Obama rally with a rifle slung on his back. He did it, and nobody shot him or anything, but he showed up to the gathering, hateful of Obama, with a fucking rifle on his back. But no, I don't think the Secret Service would have got in any trouble at all. First of all, he's trespassing. That ain't his building. He has no right to be on the roof. And then you got a rifle with you? I don't think nobody would have gave a damn.
Right. I mean, it just goes back to your whole thing with immunity for police officers, and I think that's a prime example where immunity for a police officer is needed. Because I don't know, there's reports that he was told not to take the shot. Now we haven't confirmed that yet. We're still waiting on that to come out, whether or not that was true or not. But if that is true, the only reason I can think of why the head of Secret Service would tell him not to take that shot was because she's trying to protect him from any criminal, liability.
Well, I will say this. It's possible what you're saying may be valid for the simple reason is the right side of the aisle is far more pro-gun than the left. There is a high probability that there may be folks carrying guns at right-wing events because you guys are fairly open-minded to that. So I can see where the Secret Service may be hesitant at a right-wing event. I mean, the Secret Service who are guarding Trump, all of these rallies and things like he often have, I'm sure they see armed people at them rallies all the time because that's what they promote. At a liberal gathering, you're a lot less likely to see people open carrying guns and showing up like that.
Right. I mean, I think given the circumstances, no one knew, what I'm saying? Like, he's creeping up the building. He's on a roof. No, obviously he's trying to be discreet. He's not trying to be seen, and he has no reason to be there. I think the moment he pulls a gun up and starts looking in I think the moment he pulls a pew-pew up and, is looking in the scope, I think that's fair game all day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, the minute this is an event going on like that, and you're on a roof by yourself with a long rifle. First of all, the roof should have been within the perimeter, or it should have been guarded. There should have been an officer on that roof. But the fact that they had such lapse security, I don't believe it's a case of him being told not to take the shot. I believe it was just a lapse of security, and that guy got through.
Right. I mean, but they showed a video of. I mean, the sniper was looking straight at him for about 2.5 minutes.
Wow.
They keep saying 30 minutes, but I don't know. The clips that I saw that were lined up and stuff, it was only about 3 minutes.
Yeah. Well, there's a report that an officer, because everybody was telling them there's somebody on this building. There's a report that an officer went up there, and when he went up there, the guy aimed a gun at him, and he jumped down to prevent from getting shot. So if that happened, I doubt if he was aimed at Trump for 2.5, 3 minutes. And in fact, people filmed themselves yelling he has a gun and things like that. The shots went off a lot quicker than that. I don't think he had a gun trained on Trump for no 2 or 3 minutes. I think it was quicker.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, like I said, we're only seeing clips. Until the full investigation comes out, we're not going to know the truth. But I don't think this was a hit job. I don't think this was set up by the Dems or Republicans, you know. You're hearing so many conspiracy theories on here, dude. It is unreal, dude.
So how do you respond to the notion that the vice presidential candidate, J.D. Vance, is even blaming Biden for that assassination attempt on Trump? The vice president candidate is saying that.
Man, but the thing about that is both sides use rhetoric. Both sides say things that technically, if this was to happen to either president or either candidate, you know, you could blame either side for it. Like I think it's you're being not you specifically. Anyone that states that, you know, it's this person's fault or that person's fault, I think they're being unrealistic because both sides. I mean, Trump obviously has a loud mouth, and I mean we can go back to many statements he's made.
He tweeted out a picture of Biden hogtied in the trunk of a car. So, I mean, it doesn't get more violent than that. He actually tweeted out a picture of Trump, better yet, of Biden hogtied in the back of a car. I'm really surprised J.D. Vance would make a statement like that, knowing the stuff his running mate has said.
Right, and Furback asked, "What did Joe say?" When we're saying that both sides have made statements, you know, Joe's saying about it's time to put a bullseye on Trump.
Right.
You know, and by both sides threatening, you know, that if the other party gets in, it's the end of the world. Like, just stuff like that, you know. We got a lot of crazy people in this world, dude. We have a lot of crazy people in this world. And although our intentions when we use verbiage like that isn't to cause this kind of event, you have to be careful because unfortunately there's crazy people out there that take everything very literal.
And I see folks in the comments who suggest that they don't like the both sides thing. I would say this, because oftentimes when Trump says something, folks say you're taking it out of context or whatever, but when you send out a picture of Biden hog-tied in the back of a pickup truck, how can you take that out of context? What other meaning does that have? When you got the guy hog-tied and tied up in the back of a trunk of a car, and you send that out, what is the alternative meaning for that?
Yeah, I think it's because the media blew up about it. Like, to me, I think it's obviously a joke. I don't think the guy...
Really? Come on. You really think that... Okay, then, so you really think it's funny to tie up the president and throw him in the back of a truck like your kid? I mean, if somebody did that, let's say to your son or your daughter, would you bust up laughing at that?
I mean, my son's not a president. Like, my son's no... I mean,
it doesn't matter what you're... I mean, he doesn't have to be a president or a CEO of a company. I mean, the fact is you're talking about tying somebody up and putting them in a trunk like kidnapping style. It doesn't matter what rank they are.
Look at it from this perspective. Say, who's your favorite football team?
The Bears.
Oh, God. So you guys have terrible quarterbacks.
We got a new one this year. We'll see.
I don't even know who your quarterback is right now.
He's a new guy.
Is it Caleb Williams?
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So say Caleb does trash this year, and the Bears fans are so upset with him because he's so bad that they put him on a tailgate. Like, do you find that, like, offense to that? Or do you think that that's
a good point. But let's be clear. Football in itself is designed around violence. I want to pop the guy. I mean, nobody finds it unusual to talk violence in football. Now, if I did that to my pastor or if I did that to my teacher in school, that's a different thing. But in sports, particularly football, you know from a young child that this is a violent sport. It's meant to be that way. It's not meant to be like that with the president of the United States. I don't think those are. I mean, not to mention you like if we drew a another football player experiencing an act of violence, that's one thing. But if we took the defensive, one of the coaches or something and did that too, that's 60, 70 years of age, they don't have the same mind. I mean, you're talking about a dude that's like 80 years old, all tight in the back of a trunk of a car. That ain't comical.
You smirking about it. You're smirking about it when you say it. Like you act like it ain't funny, but I don't know. I just think it's like, what is the intention behind it? Is the intention really?
Hey,
again, that's what I'm saying. Like I do agree that, dude, we've taken politics way too far. Yeah. Like we as a country. I mean, think when has politics ever been this big in America?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't remember anyone talking about politics before Trump. If they did, it wasn't like to the point of what it is now. Like Trump came in here, dude, and politics went from being something we never spoke about to it's like everybody's debating about it.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because generally politics stayed in political circles. You heard about it on Fox or your local news at night, and that was it. It was boring. Trump decided, I'm going to attack everybody that says something bad about me. So he took politics out of its traditional circle. Whereas, like, if you go to you use sports, for instance, football or basketball, or any sports you go to, there's always going to be people in the stands saying negative things about the players. You throw like a girl, you can't swing, you punch. I mean, people say, but you don't see the players go into the stands and attack people. Trump is the example of a player that decided to go into the stands and knock somebody's hot dog out of their hand. So now all of a sudden he's getting far more attention than a traditional athlete because of his actions. He's attacking a lot of people, actors and unknown people and singers and shit like that. Obama and Bush, none of them did that. Good example, Kanye West, who was a superstar rapper, well known. When he said George W. Bush after Hurricane Katrina, he said George W. Bush do not like black people. George W. Bush didn't say anything back to him. In fact, I got his book behind me, Decision Points. He wrote in his book, he actually was in tears when Kanye West said he didn't like black people. But he didn't go publicly and attack Kanye West. Trump would have did that. So now all of a sudden, Trump is at odds with all of Kanye's fans. That's the difference, is why he's got so many people talking about politics, because he's attacking musicians and actors and generals and singers and rappers, and it has consequences.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you, bud. I can't disagree. I totally agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So, but I give him before moving on from this, I give him credit, Trump more credit than anybody else, because unlike any other politician, Trump has made far more Americans interested in politics. And to me, that's a win no matter who you vote for.
So I do agree with that, because, I mean, by him doing that, like most people would just vote because, hey, my mom and dad voted, I'm voting. By Trump coming in here and stirring it up, it does cause people to actually start looking more into politics before they decide whether or not they want to vote for this person or that person. Yeah. I mean, you still got a majority of the world that just votes because that's what their family's always voted for. Yeah. But I do believe that it has caused people to look into politics more than what they normally would have in the past. But hey, I do got to get to bed. I got to be up super early for work. I just want to ask you about the immunity, and I thought this was a prime example.
Yeah, I agree. I understand your question was about immunity, with Trump giving immunity to local police officers so they can do their job. I don't put the Secret Service in the same category. I think people would hold your local law enforcement to a higher account. When the Secret Service does some shit, nobody challenges them. People are scared of them. So you're not going to go up to the Secret Service agent and start talking shit or none of that stuff. You know, they got machine guns and all kinds of crap on them. And they have the kind of immunity Trump is talking about giving cops. Secret Service already has that. You know they can make you disappear. So you already know talking shit to a Secret Service or a CIA agent is not the same thing as talking shit to your local cop. So they already have it. Who has sued the Secret Service? When have you heard a Secret Service agent get sued or get held accountable for mistreating somebody?
Well, yes and no, but the reason for that is because they only have to abide by the U.S. Supreme Court.
Right. Right.
So it's easier for a state level to get sued because, like, for example, in PA, not only do we have to abide by the U.S. Supreme Court's rulings, but we also have to abide by our state constitution.
You're kind of making my point for me. You're admitting, as a regular officer, we have to answer to far more people than they do. That's the immunity I'm talking about. You already know if they do something to you.
No, what I'm saying is, at a state level, so a local officer, it may not violate your right constitutionally, like through the Supreme Court, like the federal Constitution. It might not violate you in that aspect, but a lot of states have their own constitution, which is stricter than what the United States Supreme Court has. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I hear what you're saying.
So, for example, let's use it. Here's an example. The Supreme Court of the United States says it's not a violation of your right for us to search your car on the side of the road if we have PC. Mm-hmm. Well, in the state of PA, we have to get a search warrant if we want to search your car, regardless of whether we have PC on the side of the road. Well, why? Because Article 1, Section 8, the PA Supreme Court ruled that it's a violation of your right by searching your car on the side of the road. Well, the United States Supreme Court says, no, it's not a violation of your right because you got the Mobile Conveyance Act, which allows us to do it. So if I search your car without a warrant on the side of the road, you could sue me because I violated the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. They're ruling on it. But federally, they can still do it and get away with it because the Supreme Court says it's constitutional for an officer.
I think that's the point I'm trying to make, is I think that most people know you ain't gonna fuck with the Secret Service and take them to court and win. I mean, it's a regular dude on the street who's a beat cop. If he mistreats you, there's a chance you can have something done about it. If a Secret Service officer mistreats you, you may not even be able to find out who that dude even is. They may tell you that guy don't even exist that you're complaining about. So you know that this guy can get away with shit. I mean, so people don't mess with the Secret Service. Like I said, they already have immunity. I mean, you go down to the police station, I want to report one of Trump's guards that mistreated me. Here is a pimp. This guy don't even work for us. There's no name tag. You don't even know who the hell he is. I mean, so, yeah, you're not going to get any type of recourse from the Secret Service like you would a local cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like Men in Black. I mean, this never happened. I mean, that's the way it is. This didn't even happen to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I agree with you, man. You always got great points. But, hey, I do got to hop off here, buddy. I got to get to bed.
Appreciate it. Good talk. Come on back anytime, man. Thank you. All right. All right. Thank you for that underwater beauty, that Charles. Thank you for the support. This guy is a cop but doesn't know this. No, Red, I think he may have just not been thinking of it from that angle. And that's Fry Daddy with the Galaxy. Thank you very much. Looking in the comments real quick, and I do want to address a super chat from Moogly on YouTube. Says, too bad so many are voting while superficially informed. I agree with that 100%. Some people, as long as you trust the candidate, you'll buy anything they're saying. And I know a lot of my beloved MAGA is not going to like what I say, but I've said this many times. The way folks acted on January 6th, only 2 months and 2 days after that election, they were doing that solely based on what Trump was saying. You're talking about 2 months after the election. They hadn't even they were still doing evidence, still doing an investigation into the election. There was no reason to be acting like that only 2 months later. If you had to grab the typical Trump supporter in that crowd and ask them, what makes you think Biden stole the election? It would have been based on I went to sleep and he was losing and I woke up and he was. There was very little. It was only 2 months left. It was only 2 months after the election. There's no reason they should have been acting like that day. It was simply because Trump told them. So I do believe that some people vote and base their actions solely on their candidate of choice. Looking in the comments, Biden's rhetoric caused an attempted assassination yesterday, so it's world champ. Fair enough. And that is what JD Vance is stating. That's what we're having the conversation on. Tap the screen, get the likes up to about 40,000. We're asking that question. Do you believe JD Vance, who stated, here is the actual quote, by the way. Today is not just some isolated incident. The central premise of the Biden campaign is that President Donald Trump is an authoritarian fascist who must be stopped at all costs. That rhetoric led directly to President Trump's attempted assassination. That's coming from J.D. Vance. Now, it's interesting that he's saying by calling Trump an authoritarian fascist that it somehow led to this, because we know Obama and Biden were called socialists, communists. I believe they were calling them Marxists. I mean, it's kind of coming from both sides. The only difference is somebody actually tried to take a swing at Trump, and it didn't happen to the other guys. But most of this language he's using that folks are calling Trump, it's not like they're not calling the other side. I mean, I get folks even calling me a socialist. It happens all the time. Continuing on with Moo, the tuxedo cat. Good evening. Welcome to the program. What did I? Here we go. Oh, Dencal, good evening.
Hey, what's happening?
Hey, good to have you on. So what do you think? You think J.D. Vance is getting it right, that Biden's language is the reason he had a hit out on Trump?
Of course not. I mean, are we believing J.D. Vance now?
Well, he is the vice presidential candidate.
Well, a couple of years ago, he said that Trump was America's Hitler. So what, should we believe him back then, or should we believe him now?
Did he say that?
Yes, he said that.
He called Trump.
All of that stuff is going to come out now that he's the official candidate. If you wasn't paying attention before, it will surely be coming up on everybody's screen.
Yeah. Oddly enough, a large portion of them, I think Marco Rubio said some stuff like that, and Ted Cruz called Trump a racist. I mean, a lot of them, and that's just in addition to, once they all lost to Trump, the people he put on his administration to serve in the White House, they have some choice words about him also. Most people in his wake have they give him bad references.
Right. I mean, he was a self-proclaimed never Trumper before he somehow, got into Trump's good graces. And Trump's on camera, on recording, also said the reason why J.D. Vance is trying to get it. J.D. Vance wants to kiss his ass, is what he said.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance wants to kiss my ass because he knows I got power over him now, and now he's made that guy his vice president because he has no use for J.D. Vance really. He just wants somebody that's not going to give any pushback like Pence did.
I was going to ask, does J.D. Vance further Trump's cause at all? I mean, because Trump was going to win Ohio no matter what. Now, Marco Rubio could have brought him some Hispanic voters. I mean, what does J.D. Vance do for the Trump campaign?
Nothing. He can be 100% sycophant. He doesn't bring experience. He's had 17 months of experience in Congress. He was something with he was like a venture capitalist before that. He set up a fake charity to raise money for people on opioids, and nobody ever got money. He doesn't bring anything to the table. Now people run around talking about, Kamala Harris, she doesn't have enough experience, and they talk about all these people that don't have enough experience, but yet this guy comes up here because he's one, banana slip fall from Trump from being the president if he were to win, and they don't have no problem. These people is at the committee, at the convention, just smiling to how great of a choice he is.
Now, there's a few comments being made, because you're mentioning J.D. Vance under Trump. Two comments, and I'll let you take it any way you can. First of all, Kamala also called Biden a racist when they were running. And in regards to pushback, do you believe Kamala gives Biden any pushback at all?
I believe that she does what a vice president is supposed to do. But I believe if he tried to break the law, she would have pushback. She's a former prosecutor. She's not going to stand there and just watch him break the law. J.D. Vance will obviously, from his comments,
him to break the law and would do it with a smile on his face.
Wow. So he adds nothing to the campaign, and he's essentially a yes man. Am I hearing you correct?
Yeah, of course. Like, just listen to the man. It's not hard to tell. But one thing that's really bothering me, man, and I want to say, I believe that the whole assassination attempt, I think that guy was MAGA.
Really?
Yeah,
why? Then, if you believe the shooter was MAGA, why the hell would he try to take out the king of MAGA?
What do you mean? Why would, listen, I'm just trying to go along with what has been presented in our political sphere. They said that Nancy Pelosi and Antifa tried to prevent Joe Biden from becoming the president after he had already won.
Yeah, that makes no sense. I'll agree with you that it's obvious Black Lives Matter and Antifa prefers Biden over Trump. The idea that they would go to the Capitol on January 6th and try to upset the inauguration or transfer of power to Biden is stupid. Their guy won. Why the hell would they be here causing ruckus when their guy won? The purpose of this is to stop their guy from taking power. So, yeah, I agree with that 100%.
They said Nancy Pelosi wanted to make Trump look bad. That's why she allowed. So if I'm using that logic, because I'm trying to get on their level.
I get your point now. You're being sarcastic. I get your point.
Okay, yeah. That's where I was at. Like, it had to be MAGA. They said the guy had Trump posters in his yard.
Just like when Nancy Pelosi's husband got beaten with a hammer and they said it was his gay lover, I saw somebody on YouTube say that guy who tried to shoot Trump was his boyfriend.
Hey, is that what politics has become?
Yes.
Because, I find myself for years arguing with people about the dumbest things, and they are saying it with conviction. Yeah. They are really believing like the stuff they say, and I just can't comprehend, because you say it all the time to the people, like we're 4 years out and can't nobody show us nothing about the election being stolen. But they'll talk about, come on, man, you saw it. They pulled those boxes from underneath the table.
Yeah, there remains, that's been my issue, is that when it comes to the 2020 election, there is no solid evidence to back up. It's a lot of suspicious stuff, but there is no solid evidence that stuff was being done to help the Democratic Party out. That's just being assumed by MAGA, Republicans, and Trump. I mean, they're just assuming everything that looks suspicious had to be done to hurt us. And you can't make that assumption in court. It'll never fly.
Right, and then you have him in all of these crazy decisions made by his Secret Service detail. They got him all flapping in the winds. They're not defending like perfect purchase in sight of the presidential candidate, and they're saying, well, he's outside of the perimeter, so they'll let the local police handle it. He gets shot. He drops to the ground. He gets back up. He's asking for his shoes. He's all exposed. He's pump fisting to my fight. Who the hell is he saying fight against? A 20-year-old that got up on the roof with
he's saying fight against these liberals that's trying to take my life. I mean, he's leaving a blueprint to fight against liberals. I want you to hear this, though. In the comments, Samantha Anderson asking interesting questions. She says, wow, you guys are all laughing at a man who lost his life. Corey was a firefighter. Now, she's talking about one of the casualties of this whole event, which has not even been mentioned on this show at all. But she's talking about we're laughing at the death of the firefighter.
We have not mentioned him. Yeah. We are talking solely about the people involved. The shooter, the presidential candidate, his Secret Service, and how all of that stuff went down. How she got us laughing at the firefighter is another way of them throwing interference into a conversation that's factual in nature.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to. I think to me, because once this happened with Trump, there were a lot of MAGA and a lot of Trump supporters. I would say rightfully angry at people that were wishing the worst on Trump. But the obvious comeback is how they addressed Nancy Pelosi's husband getting hit in the head with a hammer. I mean, even if they want to suggest it was some kind of gay lovers quarrel or whatever the hell they came up with, you are making fun of somebody that was a victim of attempted murder. And there is no denying that there was a hell of a lot of folks on the right that was making all kinds of jokes about that. So then the minute something happens to Trump, or as Samantha's pointing out, one of his supporters, now you're supposed to be serious and actually show the victim some respect. I don't know a better case of hypocrisy than that.
What about the people that were literally on right-wing TV years ago talking about how Kamala's going to be the president because because Biden was going to be he's going to be unalive by this point. Nobody gave a damn.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a damn on the right.
Yeah, I mean, like I said also too, when Trump tweeted out the picture of Biden hogtied in the back of a pickup truck, I think that folks on the right, that's just a joke. I mean, you're talking about literally kidnapping the president and throwing him in the back of a pickup truck. And that's somehow supposed to be comedy. But then once people start saying that, as J.D. Vance is saying that, calling Trump a fascist, or a fascist is inviting divisiveness and inviting violence. Well, they were calling Obama a Marxist and a socialist. They called Biden the same thing. I don't know why all of a sudden when it comes to Trump, this stuff is so different. I'm just clueless.
What was their reaction when there were people all up and down social media talking about, if this or that happens, it's going to be a civil war?
But that's still happening.
Let's calm it down.
That's still happening.
Yeah. Was anybody on the right saying, let's calm down, let's not have that rhetoric? No, they were saying if something happens to Trump, they were going, if he loses all of this stuff, if he gets indicted, it's going to be a civil war. If he gets tried, it's going to be a civil war. If he gets convicted, it's going to be a civil war. Nobody along the way, and especially not their fearless leader, Trump, never came out and said, no matter what, I denounce violence. Never one time.
Yeah. I can't disagree with you, but then, Cal, I do got to move it on.
Now they're the ones running around acting like they're the only ones who got weapons and stuff, and now that the weapon has been used against them, now it's we need to. Yeah, well, you guys need to. No, stop it. You gotta take responsibility for the rhetoric that you put out.
Yeah. How does that saying go? It ain't no fun when the liberal got the gun or something like that. I gotta move it on though, then, Cal.
Hey, but the thing was, he wasn't no liberal. So let's get it together.
I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I know he was a registered Republican, and I know his neighbors said that they used to keep Trump signs in their yard. So I'll leave it at that.
All right. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you. And by the way, the fact that his dad had an AR-style weapon, I mean, that generally is more representative of somebody who votes on the right side of the aisle. I mean, there are liberals. I know several liberals that have long rifles, AKs, SKSs, and ARs, but most of the time, somebody that owns firepower like that, they tend to be more to the right. But like I said, I know several liberals that is on the other side. Real quick, Gen X, friend of the program in the comments, says, you seem to have a bad case of whataboutism a lot lately. Well, if I'm accusing you of doing something wrong, Gen X, and you know I just did the same shit yesterday, it's kind of hard not to expect you to have a little bit of whataboutism. I mean, fact is, having somebody from the Trump campaign complain about aggressive or violent rhetoric, you really expect everything he said to not come up? I mean, the amount of stuff that Trump has said and made fun of people being victimized, handicapped folks and all of that stuff, yeah, it's almost impossible. I get your point in any other instance, but in this point, just the sheer amount of things that Trump has said in terms of violent rhetoric. Every time you say fuck your feelings, or, I could go for some mean tweets, or you guys are snowflakes, it's generally because something like that has happened. And think about how often that is said. So it's challenging not to go whataboutism, because Trump has a mountain of material that somebody like J.D. Vance, you're going to challenge Biden on calling Trump, what do you call him, a fascist, an authoritarian fascist. Like I said, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Biden, I mean, they all been called that. I mean, there was a book out called Obama's Third Term. I mean, they all been called that. All of a sudden it's called, Trump gets the same name, and suddenly now, oh my God, we need to stop this. You're going to get somebody killed. Wow. All right, look at in the comments. This is why it was staged. Everybody knows you go center mass. It was a setup. I don't know about a 20-year-old, though. Is he trolling out? That's what I'm thinking. 20-year-old. And by the way, for you folks who are fans of some of these states, like I believe Louisiana on July 4th passed a law that on your 18th birthday, you can now carry open or concealed, no permit, no training, and things like that. This guy was 20 years old. He went and bought 50 rounds. Went out and bought 50 rounds the same day he did this. Maybe it's time to rethink letting people so young get their hands on the gun. Maybe. Going back to the box, because they might do something immature like this shit. Moo, we were trying to bring up Moo, the tuxedo cat. Good evening, Moo. Hey, we're talking about rhetoric. According to J.D. Vance, the now vice presidential candidate, we're talking about the rhetoric coming from Biden led to Trump's assassination attempt. What say you?
Yeah. So the whole premise of that is, so Biden was on the phone with some of his donors, right? And he said to them, we need to take the spotlight off of January 27th, my debate,
right,
and put a bullseye on Trump instead. So that's not violence. That means that we need to focus on Trump instead of my poor performance at the debate. And what MAGA does now is they take single words out of your sentence and reform it into a cloud of bullshit, right?
Well, they would say the liberals do the same.
One word now, right, and turn it into a cloud of bullshit at this point.
They would say the liberals do the same thing. So it sounds like maybe they took Biden out of context. Has the liberal
ever called for the unaliving of 5 innocent men?
Yeah. Well.
Okay, so it's not the same, it's not even, and I've never heard someone advocate for full police immunity because a person nobody cares about got shot at. I'm going to take this issue as seriously as the victim does, and Trump went golfing today, so that's how seriously I'm going to take someone shooting at Trump, okay? I'm not going to take it any more seriously than the victim did, so I'm going to be nonchalant about it, and I don't really care about it, because Trump don't really seem to care about it. And none of this changed anyone's position. And I got news for you, Maggot. Not a whole lot of people care that Trump got shot at. Not a whole lot of people cared.
Yeah, I had somebody close to me tell me to my face they wish he had been taken out. I'm like, really? You wanted the guy to die? I mean, I've had people, and unfortunately on TikTok, I must have got a complaint or two because the TikTok side of things have went down. Let me see. I will have to, unfortunately, file an appeal on TikTok. On YouTube, you folks are here, and I see somebody said that is a pathetic take. Without the glasses, my reading, what does that say? The something kid. You're saying it was a pathetic take. Feel free to elaborate on that. I'm trying to put the appeal in on TikTok, but so many comments are coming in, it makes it a little difficult to do it. All right, so we put the appeal in. We'll see if it comes back through. Reagan pumped his fist. This was not staged. Look, the stage thing doesn't surprise me. I've stated before, and I said it at the beginning of this live, Trump could live to be 110 and pass away of natural causes, and somebody's going to say something happened to him at that point. There is so much conspiracy surrounding President Trump that he will never escape, conspiracies for the rest of his life. He may end up being like Elvis or Tupac, where people are saying he's still alive and he didn't die and the funeral wasn't even him. I mean, that's just the way it is because he came to the scene with conspiracies. I mean, he rose to power by doing that. I mean, the whole QAnon, setup. And by the way, I say we go left of Bernie Sanders to having dinner with Q. I don't mind Q on the program. I give him free speech, a free speech platform. But I do believe that under Trump, there's going to be conspiracies surrounding Trump for the rest of his life and beyond. Mainly because in my opinion, there's been so many of them being supported by his own supporters. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, when it comes to the idea that it was a setup or that event was staged, I'm going to say the same thing I say with the election. Show me some evidence. Until I see some evidence, I'm going to leave it at that. Corey Johnson says, so we are blaming Trump now. Blaming Trump for what, Corey? Elaborate, I'll let you know. I don't think we're certainly not blaming Trump. I don't blame him for the hit that was taken out on him by that 20-year-old. But I will say this. Yeah, let me turn down that's my TikTok plan. Some chick with big titties bouncing around. Let me just say this. I don't blame Trump for somebody trying to take his life. I would never stoop that low. However, I do strongly believe that words have consequences. I mean, if I went around town exercising my First Amendment free speech rights and cursing out police, cussing out cops, it is legal, by the way, to use profanity in conjunction with a cop in most jurisdictions. You have a legal right to swear at police. I can tell you for a fact, if I continued doing that to cops, I would start having trouble. Nobody gives a damn that it is your free speech, First Amendment rights to do so. There would be cops finding reasons to ticket me, finding reasons to tow my car, maybe even coming up with reasons to arrest me. Speech has consequences. So the idea that Trump is going around saying all these things about folks, senators and generals and governors and the Pope, world leaders and shit like that, when he was shot at, everybody said it had to be a leftist. My assumption is that's more likely true than not, that the person that would shoot at Trump would be a leftist. But because that man has so many enemies, it's not guaranteed. It is not guaranteed by any means, fashion, or form. I mean, there's a whole lot of folks that are on the right that have lost their whole careers and millions of dollars because of Trump. Jeb Bush is an example. Liz Cheney is an example of somebody who could have served decades in Washington, has lost her entire career because of Trump. They're not liberals. They would love to see something bad happen to Trump. So Mike Pence is another one who was on his way to being a shining star. My guess is he probably had aspirations to become president after Trump nominated him as VP. Hell, J.D. Vance probably does too. Mike Pence, his whole career is gone because of Trump. So the idea that only leftists have a reason to go after Trump is insane. Trump has went after a lot of people. So while I wanna believe that any hit on Trump would most likely come from a leftist, it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. You know, I mean, we all know people who get in a lot of bar fights. Maybe you know people on the street doing things they shouldn't do. And if something were to happen to that person and somebody came to you and asked you, who do you think did it? You would say right up, look, this dude, man, he done pissed off a whole lot of people. It could be anybody. That's Trump. That is Trump. It could be anybody. I mean, he has said bad things about, I mean, for all we know, this 20-year-old may have fell in love because they said he was being bullied in school. Maybe he fell in love with somebody here who was here illegally and he was worried about them being deported. It could literally be a host of different directions this could go. I'm speculating, I'm making up shit, but what I'm saying is it could be a million different directions. Trump pissed off a lot of people. So it is until they can get to his phone and get on his social media platforms and find out what his motives were, all you can do is speculate. Remember the guy that took out like 500 people out of the window in Mandalay Bay? They still don't know what his motive was. And he shot like 500 people. I think he killed like 50 of them, almost 60 people, shooting across the street from the Mandalay Bay. They still don't know what his motives were. So we may never know why this guy tried to take Trump out, which would lead to a frenzy of conspiracies and speculation. Looking in the comments, P-Towel says, stop making up stories. I guess you didn't pay attention to the 2020 election, huh? Stories made up aplenty. By the way, folks, TikTok is down, so I'm strictly rolling with you YouTubers right now until I can see what happens with the appeal I put in. J.D. Vance just wrote an op-ed about it 2 months ago, actually. Wrote an op-ed about what? I agree Tulsi Gabbard would have been the best pick. I think Tulsi Gabbard would have been a far better pick than J.D. Vance. Because Trump has suggested that he's getting more of the black vote. I do believe his numbers with the black community are better than most other Republican predecessors like Romney, McCain, and Bush and all of those folks, but it ain't great. It's not like Trump going to come anywhere near getting 50% of the black vote. I doubt if he comes anywhere near getting 30%. Tulsi Gabbard might have brought in a few more minorities. I think with the strict abortion laws that are now spreading across America, it would have helped him to have a woman. I'm a huge fan of Nikki Haley if you're going to vote on the right side of the aisle because she's close to being a moderate. You know how I feel. I love moderates. I like people who are willing to listen to both sides. And I think Nikki Haley would have been a good choice for that. But MAGA despises Nikki Haley. Trump called black people low tier. Well, Biden has said some shit about black people too. So I'm not going to just run with that one comment. Biden has said some things about, he said something about blacks not knowing how to use a computer and not wanting his kids growing up in a racial jungle. The problem is, because folks say all the time, well, you need to get off the Democratic plantation and Biden's a racist, you need to vote for Trump. I don't think if that is the reason you're voting as a minority is because of some racially charged comments that your presidential candidate made, then you're probably not going to vote for Trump or Biden. They've both made comments in their past that are racially charged. I mean, it's just a matter of picking which one do you think is worse. I will say this. Most of the comments that Biden has made and the things that they're accusing Biden of, like the crime bill and all of that stuff, is much older than the stuff Trump has done. Because Trump was favored by the black community before he ran for president. And it's because a lot of the reason why it's not that way anymore is because a lot of the things Trump has said and did that are racially charged are recent. Like in the last 10, 15 years, it's more recent. That's why I do believe people are pinning that label, the racist label, on Trump more than Biden, because for Biden, you got to go back 30, 40 years, with the exception of the claim, vote for me or you ain't black. The rest of that stuff's pretty damn old. Trump is doing stuff fairly recent. I think it's just MAGA suggests that what he's doing is not racist, but the black and Hispanic communities see it otherwise. Looking in the comments, name one racist thing Trump has said. Well, if I show you something that I personally believe is racially suspicious, chances are you're not going to agree with it. I mean, Trump tweeted out a video of a man yelling white power. No explanation why he would do that. Tim Scott, of all people, Senator Tim Scott begged him to take it down. And he took it down. He didn't apologize. He claimed he didn't hear the guy yelling white power. I can play the video for you. It's loud as fuck. There's no way in hell, and not to mention, when you look at the video, the first question, why would you tweet that out? What was the purpose of tweeting that out? That's really the only thing in the video of any significance is the guy yelling white power. Trump tweeted it out. Everybody heard it because it became big news at the time. No apology, no explanation for why it was tweeted out. Now, if you are on the Trump side of the aisle, if you're on the MAGA side of the aisle, that's not racist to you. So folks say, well, tell me something Trump said that's racist. Well, the things that minorities might feel are racist, you're not going to agree with them. You're going to come up with a different reason for why it's not. So I don't think I could show someone who supports Trump anything Trump said that's racist because you're not going to agree with it. Looking in the comments, it says, did Trump take the video and post it himself? We don't know. The fact is it's on his Twitter account. If I have a Twitter account and it is under my name with my picture on it, obviously I have control of what's on that Twitter account. If something ridiculous comes off of my Twitter account, at the very least, I need to step up and say, my assistant was tweeting for me that night and I fired her ass. Or something that, you don't say nothing. You can tweet out something that is awful about somebody. You don't explain it. You don't state that anybody got terminated because of it. You don't apologize. What are people supposed to think? I'll ask you that. What are people supposed to think? I mean, he absolutely tweeted out a man yelling white power. I mean, what do? Just ignore it? No explanation for why he even tweeted that out to begin with. What is the relevance of that? Other than to say, I want to yell out white power. I mean, so I'm just telling you. And in the comments, Jeff Norman says, stop watching CNN. Well, this came from Trump's Twitter account. I don't know what CNN has to do with it. I mean, he tweeted it out. It ain't like Trump got out there and said it was fake news or CNN or MSNBC is making up lies about me. He didn't deny it. Remember, Tim Scott is the one that begged for him to take it down. That's not CNN, that's him. So I'll leave it at that. If you can show me one video where Trump said something racist, I'll believe it, says Calvin. Calvin, I like your approach, and I'll tell you why. Let's say, for instance, yours truly. Look, I'm all for free speech, which is why I read all of your comments, and I don't care if they're critical of me or not. I believe in free speech, to a fault, some might say. I'm MAGA friendly, damn it. But I will tell you this. Let's say, for instance, for shits and giggles, let's say I didn't like white people. I was racist as hell towards white people. But what I did, instead of sending out anything racist about white people, I just posted clips from Farrakhan all damn day. Or I posted clips from Malcolm X or Elijah Muhammad. Or I posted clips that maybe Jesse Jackson said about white people. It never came out of my mouth. I just always posted tweets from somebody else. Would it be fair to say I'm not racist? Because all I do is tweet out racism from somebody. It didn't come from me though. It's just on my Twitter account. I'm just gonna send out racist clips that may be aligned with how I feel if I'm a racist. But I don't want people to call me racist, so I won't say it. I'll just find somebody else that is racist that said it and then post them on my account. Because I know people like you is going to say, well, that doesn't mean he's racist then. I don't buy that. I'll tell you right off the bat, in my humble opinion, if you have a social media account with your name on it and your face on it, you are responsible for what comes out of that account. I don't give a damn whose picture is being sent out or whose voices. If you decided to retweet it, how do you get no accountability for that? If I get on my social media account and I send out pictures of children being sexually abused, do I get a pass on it because it ain't me doing it? That doesn't make any sense. If he's tweeting out folks saying and doing things that's racist and he's not giving any type of context or explanation why he's doing it, he's not apologizing for it, what are you suggesting? That people should just ignore it? That's what it sounds like. Well, he didn't say it, so he can just tweet it out all damn day. And I see in the comments, Draco is correct. I would get arrested because the police would hold me accountable for what came out of my damn account. The idea that Trump should not be held accountable for what he tweets out makes no sense. And I see in the comments, Robert says Trump never kept posting racist videos or sayings. As I stated before, if Trump says something and the minority community views it as being racist, or you're not going to agree with it. I mean, you just made it clear that if he tweets out a video of a guy yelling white power, you don't see no problem with it. So for folks like you, I would admit he's never said nothing racist at all. Your bar is so high that unless he comes out and flat out says, I don't like black people, everything else is going to kind of get a pass. Now, Trump did say, remember we said that Biden is racist because he said, vote for me or you ain't black. Trump said that if you are Israeli, he said if you are Jewish and you don't vote for him, that means you hate Israel and you hate your country, which is essentially vote for me or you ain't Jewish. Trump support, well, that makes sense. I mean, so he said the same thing Biden said, but when he said it somehow, well, he gets a pass. So look, at the end of the day, like I said, Trump has never said anything racist. If you're talking to a Trump supporter, I get it because the bar is so high for what qualifies as a racist statement. But then when it goes to Biden, the bar drops way down again. Biden authors the crime bill. He's racist as hell. Trump is all over the place supporting stop and frisk, which is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Well, we kind of did need to bring the crime down, and it's all of a sudden a support of it. So you're not going to find anything he said that's racist under those terms. You're just not. Looking in the comments, Trump would be safe in Mexico, but a wimpy kid shook MAGA. I don't quite get that. Bet Biden is miles ahead. How so? The way he speaks about cities with black mayors, it ain't favorable. I'll tell you that. It ain't favorable. I'll tell you the whole quote of Trump suggesting he'll give police immunity from prosecution if he's elected. If you listen to it, it's pretty clear he's talking about inner city. And look, it's not racist, but you know who those cops are dealing with. I mean, he doesn't say that, there's meth factories in rural Alabama that we need to get under. No, he's talking about Chicago and democratic cities. So it's not racist, but you can pretty much read between the lines that he's talking about getting black on black crime in check. So that's a good thing. I would favor getting black on black crime rates to drop, but I don't favor it by giving police immunity. I just don't. Either way, the country is screwed because the fake money. What fake money? I don't get that one. He wants to pick and choose what he wants. He is biased only for blacks, bro. Why aren't we helping everyone? What do you mean? Wait. Who's picking and choosing bias for blacks? We had a black president that folks say didn't do shit for black people. Who is biased for blacks only? I'd like to know who that person is. Trump is the only one often bragging about he did things for black people. Ain't nobody else doing that. That's Trump doing that. Oprah, Jesse Jackson, Tyson, and everyone that was on TV in the 90s loved Trump. Robert, 100% true. 100% true. There was a lot of love by the African-American community for President Trump. But at the time, he was going around saying he was a Democrat. He certainly wasn't walking around bragging about how he liked stop and frisk. I don't know if he was in support of the Confederate flag and some of that stuff he's been in support of lately. I mean, he was a different guy back in the 90s. If you listen, you see old clips of Trump back in the 90s, what he was saying compared to now. I think when he was on Oprah, by the way, you mentioned Oprah, he told Oprah he identifies as a Democrat. He's a different guy now. He's on video talking about you don't need high-capacity magazines and shit like that. There's a reason why people liked him differently than they do now. The audience of people that like Trump now would not have liked him back in those days. So he's a different guy now. But I do agree with you. People used to like Trump a lot on the minority side of the aisle. But I say he was a different guy back then. Stop spreading these liberal propaganda lies. Wow. Think about the look at the policies of each candidate. You mean to tell me that you would rather pick Biden, who is running our country? That's a great question. Who is that? Daddy Jenkerson. That's an interesting point. Let me say this. A lot of folks would favor getting Trump back. $2 gas, low inflation rates, not a lot of world conflict going on. That makes sense. I'm not necessarily against that. I see what your point is, but let me just state this. If the reason you want Trump back, it's because you favor the Trump administration from 2016 to 2020, I got to push back and say that Trump that we're looking at in 2024 to 2028 is not the same dude that we had from 16 to 20. For instance, in 2016 to 2020, while we were focusing on the cheap gas and enjoying the economy, kids weren't being forced to read the Bible in schools, whether they were Christian or not. Now, the policies of Trump, because you say ignore the rhetoric, go by the policies. The policies Trump is going on now are not the same as they were in 2016. Offering cops immunity. That was not a promise from the 2016 Trump. Now he's promising to give police immunity. That's something different. He himself did not have immunity in 2016. That's something different that he has now. It wasn't a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court back in 2016 to 2020. Abortion was not being slowly banned from state to state to state in 2016 to 2020. The point I'm making is, sure, I would love to get $2 gas and a good economy back. But I don't want all those far-right policies that he's bringing through this time. That stuff wasn't there last time. That stuff didn't happen last time. This time, a lot of it has already happened because of him. I mean, the strong abortion laws that we're having now rolling across the state, that's because of his first term. Now he's coming this time and talking about giving police immunity from prosecution. It's a different Trump than it was back then. And I see in the comments, Josh Mason says propaganda. What? You telling me abortion rights being banned in different states, you're telling me that's propaganda? That's not happening? You're telling me Trump promising to give police immunity from prosecution, that's not happening? All that's propaganda? You're telling me Christianity being forced in schools, whether the child is a Christian or not, where they got to read the Bible. You're telling me none of that's happening? That's all propaganda? It's going to be a tough sell. That's going to be a tough sell because he's on video saying this stuff. I mean, I don't know where you can defend Trump without saying things that are so easily disproven. Everything I just mentioned, he's on video saying that stuff. So I don't see where the propaganda part comes in. You're speaking without facts, says Rachel Rogers. Shout out to one of my female MAGA. I always enjoy talking to female MAGA because everybody says the liberals are going to get all the women, but there's a lot of females that are going right. Shout out to you, Rachel. Rachel says you're speaking without facts. The only thing that changed with the overturn of Roe versus Wade is it's going back to the states. It should have been there, the states, the whole time. Okay, fair enough. It is going back to the states. But what did I just say? Abortion is being banned from state to state to state. Okay, it went back to the states and a bunch of states banned it. What did I say that was not right? You stated I'm speaking without facts. My point was abortion is being banned from state to state. What part of that is not factual? Did that not happen? State in the comments. I read your comment, Rachel. Let me know what part of what I just said. Abortion is being slowly banned from state to state to state. You said I'm speaking without facts. Let me know what was wrong about that statement. Looking in the comments, here's the thing. He's on video saying a lot of things that he's never actually done or will do. Trump's full of it, says Lee C. Well, true, politicians do often make promises that they don't keep, but you still hold them accountable. Did anybody really believe Beto O'Rourke? You damn right I'm going to take away your AR-15. Do you really believe he could actually do that? The Second Amendment is constitutionally protected. He couldn't do that, but they held him accountable for it. Barack Obama, when he told Joe the plumber, you got to spread the wealth around, he can't take money from people. He can't just take money from the wealthy and give it to the poor as president, but they held him accountable for saying it. So if Trump says he's going to give police immunity or start making these wild claims that he can't do, why does he get to escape being held accountable for what he's saying when everybody else is being held accountable? Folks were suggesting that Bernie Sanders and Barack Obama, one individual, could turn this whole country socialist. One person. They can't do that, but they were held accountable for it. So if Trump says something wild, why is it so different when it comes to holding him accountable for saying something wild, yet we held all the other ones accountable? Somebody make that make sense to me. And I thank you, Easton Menez says, I applaud you for having an open dialogue, but it's MAGA 2024 with a host of exclamation points. Nothing wrong with voting for Trump. I have a difference of opinion on some things, but I'm not going to pretend like on paper Trump did not deserve a second term. I understand a lot of my beloved MAGA, you know, I always reach back. This is my, wait a minute. We're not going to, well, I guess you could use the Keep America Great hat again now that he's running, but I have a Trump was right hat around here somewhere because sometimes Trump says things, and that used to be the responses when he says something that was correct. I would hold up the Trump is right hat, but there's nothing wrong with voting for Trump. I don't see any issue with that. There's good things about President Trump, but I don't believe any candidate you favor should be exempt from accountability. Trump has said things that are not true. I think he should be held accountable for it. Biden has said things that are not true. I believe he should be held accountable for it. And when I'm speaking with MAGA, they're totally fine with holding Biden accountable. Even a lot of Republicans are totally fine with holding accountable. It's just when you get to Trump, somehow it's taken out of context or he didn't mean that. I don't buy into that. I hold them all accountable. Look at in the comments, though. Biden should be in jail. Well, if you listen to her, H-U-R-R, he should be in jail, according to her. But because of his senile mentality, he can't be prosecuted. You notice that everybody was pissed off on the right that the guy refused to charge Biden because of his mental incapacity, but nobody went after her. Even President Trump did not say anything negative about her, the guy who said this shit. Notice, because Trump appointed that guy. Trump is the reason that her is in that position. So you can't say anything about her because it would be admitting that Trump dropped the ball and made yet another bad appointee. Add him to the list of Attorney General Barr and Mike Pence and all them others. Yet Trump once again made another bad appointee. So while we're pissed off that Biden didn't get charged, we can't say shit about the guy that ruled that way because it came from Trump. If he was a liberal plant, if he had been appointed by Biden or appointed by Obama, everybody would have been talking about he's in the pocket for the liberals and all. They can't say shit about the dude because he was appointed by Trump himself. Looking in the comments, though, sorry I can't bring up guests. I wish I could figure out a way to do it on TikTok. On YouTube, rather. My TikTok side is down right now, and I'm not, because we're still in the same topic, and they didn't like me talking about the Trump assassination, and they took it down. I have a backup account we could all go to and kick the party back off, but I'm on the same topic, so I don't want to risk having both accounts down simultaneously. Could be as long as a week, so we'll be back on at 1 p.m. Central tomorrow, just on the backup account. And for you folks who may watch the program on the TikTok side, the backup account is titled The Handsome Liberal without the final L. So it looks like Libera, the Handsome Libera. That's where we'll be tomorrow. And we'll be here on YouTube as well. Best method is to have call in on a Google Voice phone number. Yeah, but I can't do that on a mobile platform. I'm using a tablet and a smartphone for both platforms. So there's no other device to do a Google Voice. I would certainly do that if the support on the program was bigger, because I would have to go out and buy a whole new device to do that. I don't get a lot of support. I enjoy talking to you folks, particularly MAGA. That's my preferred guest. But at the same time, there's not a lot, well over 99% of the people that watch the program don't support it. I get a lot of folks who come back regularly. We enjoy the sparring back and forth. Look, people are critical as hell of me. I don't mind that. Hell, sometimes I get this shit wrong. That's why I like talking to the other side. A lot of times you guys get things right. But in terms of being able to communicate with you on the third device, that will. Tim, do you have Discord? No, I don't. No, I don't. Rumble, I had a director or somebody at Rumble contact me to get me on Rumble, but I couldn't figure out how to go live on Rumble, which is that's a platform I'm interested in because there are a lot of conservatives, Republicans, and my favorite MAGA on Rumble. So I am interested in Rumble. Never tried Discord either. Tim, I offered to help you with some tech support to get the channel to the next level. Joe, I didn't see that in the direct message. Send me a message. I'm open to as much help as I can get. What should be done about the black male violence problem in this country, says Bailey. Education. Probably the biggest way to stop folks from doing dumb shit is by educating them. Education provides opportunity in terms of financial employment, things like that. It also teaches you a little bit more. Like myself, I have 3 college degrees. I knew from day one I didn't want to be doing time. I knew I didn't want to have felonies on my record and things like that. Most of the folks that are doing time barely have high school diplomas. Lack of education has a lot to do with it. I really believe, and I know this is where the right is going to disagree with me. This is where the MAGA side of the aisle is going to disagree with me. I believe college education should be subsidized by the government. It's done in most first world countries. An educated population benefits the whole damn country. That way you're not bringing in doctors from India, bringing in folks from the Philippines and Vietnam and shit like that, because people in this country decided to stop at an associate's degree or take up welding or something because they couldn't afford a medical degree or couldn't afford a tech degree. Their countries are educationally far more advanced than ours are because they're giving the people a lot more assistance on obtaining their education. We are on one of those pull yourself up by your bootstrap deals, which is, listen, I'm fine with self-reliance and self-responsibility, but at the end of the day, the more hurdles you put to success, the less people are going to be successful. They make it easier in other countries for their citizens to do better. So their citizens do better. That is just the way it is. In our country, we are a capitalist country. We don't believe in social entitlements and folks saying socialism. We believe everybody should pay their own way from cradle to grave. Well, you're going to have less people that make it as opposed to some other country that looks out for its citizens. That's why. And then what I have an issue with is therefore we're based on Christianity and all these people are coming in the country and changing the way the founding fathers intended it. When we took the country over, when we defeated the Native Americans and this became our country, and I'm talking mainly to whites in this point because that's whose country it is, not trying to be racial, but I'm just simply saying from a standpoint of once America was firmly in possession of the colonists, you could have had a Christian, white, heterosexual, all of the shit you want this country to be, you could have had it that way if it wasn't for the constant efforts to exploit cheap or free labor. Bringing in people from all these other places. You bring in African Americans where they're going to bring in some of their culture and their issues with them. Then it went from African Americans being free. You're bringing in Hispanics. So you're bringing in Vietnamese. So you're bringing in folks from Asia. You're bringing in Indians. Do your own damn labor. It's as simple as that. If the original founding fathers had to put in the Constitution, we have to build this country up ourselves. We have to do our own labor. The country would be majority white, majority Christian. You wouldn't have all of these entities coming in. The reason all of these people are here is mostly because the people that had control of the country was constantly trying to find free and cheap labor. Now all of a sudden all these people are here and you're calling them lazies. But in reality, it was the founding fathers. Just do your own labor. The country would have remained Christian, would have remained white, would have remained heterosexual, all of the stuff that people are complaining about now. You wouldn't have had that. Just do your own labor. Quit bringing people over here trying to get cheap labor, or in the case of my ancestors, free labor. Just do your own labor. Do your own agriculture, build your own railroads. That is something the United States failed at. And now they want to bitch about all the cultures and languages and problems that all these other groups that they brought in have done to change the country. They didn't have to be here. None of them had to be here. So looking in the comments, you should make a Kick channel. I've never heard of Kick. I can't pronounce the name. Tanaj. I've never heard of Kick. Yeah, by the way, folks, I didn't solicit that. I appreciate some of you folks that are hitting the like button. Certainly do that. It helps out the algorithm, brings in a few more folks to the fray. Hit the like button. This is a bit more challenging without me taking any guests. I'm having to go straight from the comment section. But I do appreciate you folks rolling with your boy. You could be anywhere you want to be this Monday evening, so it is an honor having you here with me. Real quick, just want to make sure you guys understand, any of the new folks tuning in. We go left of Bernie Sanders from having dinner with QAnon. I don't block, ban, or censor anyone. You can be critical of anybody in the comment section, critical of the host. It's all about free speech. So understand, I don't block, ban, or censor anyone. It's all about free speech. Looking in the comments, though, y'all are so simple-minded. Subsidized education doesn't have to equal taxpayers paying for it, so it's against conservative principles. Yeah, it doesn't have to automatically equate to taxpayers paying for it. And by the way, if somebody doesn't have the means to go to college or chooses not to because you're making them pay for it, and they go out and get a minimum wage job instead, you're going to end up subsidizing them anyway. Most Americans that are making under $20 an hour is probably getting some type of social entitlement anyway. So why not just pay for them to get a damn college degree? You give them a little bit up front, you don't have to worry about them no more. But you got somebody that, now they're 30 years old and they're making $12 an hour, you're taking care of them from cradle to grave. You could have sent them to college, you wouldn't be dealing with them anymore, and they would be putting money back into the system. So I say you should think about it like that. Why shouldn't higher education be free? We have free education for first grade all the way to the last grade of high school. So why not college education as well? I gotta say, and I know a lot of folks are gonna accuse me of fear mongering here, but President Trump has stated he wants to dismantle the Department of Education. Let the private industry rule is something you often hear from the Republican Party. I believe in letting the private sector make the decisions, free market. I mean, this is fear mongering. I know a lot of writers are not going to like this, but if he gets his way and does some shit like that, it would not surprise me if we end up living in a world where K through 8 is no longer free either, or kindergarten through high school is no longer free. Because if you let the free market decide, the free market operates on profit. If you start letting more and more anti-social policy folks propel to power, they don't believe in paying for people to get shit. I don't believe that my money should have to cover your kid going through high school. That's where it used to be. So, in my humble opinion, if we get rid of the Department of Education and start doing some of the things Trump is talking about, K through 12, kindergarten through 12th grade, that may not end up being free either. They've started rolling back free lunch programs in some Republican areas. You may have to end up paying for your kid to go to school beyond just college. Just telling you. I mean, I'm just telling you, it could happen. I make $15.50 per hour and scrape by with my wife working part-time. 6 years ago, I made 12, and we did way better. Well, if you were making $12 an hour during the Trump administration, the notion of doing way better, I mean, okay, we're not eating chitlins, we eating pig's feet. That's what I'm hearing. I mean, that's not way better. I mean, you're making $12 an hour between 2017 when Trump was inaugurated and 2021 when he left office. That still wasn't a lot of money. I mean, because they were still crying out for a $15 an hour minimum wage even when Trump was in office. They were never going to get it under Trump, but you were doing better, but I wouldn't use the term way better at $12 an hour. Shane, get a career job. Get a career, not a job. Okay, what does it say? Why should I have to pay for someone's kid to go through school? Brandon K, if you don't pay for that person's kid to go through school, you're going to pay for that person's adult to go through life. If you say, I don't want to pay for my neighbor's kid to go through school, and his family doesn't pay for him, and he ends up dropping out, what do you think's going to happen? You don't think he's going to be getting social issues one way or another out of your pocketbook? Either you're going to end up paying for him to get food stamps and welfare, or he's going to commit a crime and you're going to end up paying to house him in jail. You're not saving any damn money by doing that. You're just creating a less educated American that's still going to cost you money. Pay for the guy to go to school so that then he can pay it forward to the next kid. But because you're refusing to pay anything to help him go into school, if his own folks do not meet their responsibility and now all of a sudden he ends up dropping out or something, you're going to pay for him. That's what you're doing now for all of the high school dropouts in this country. Most of them end up with prison records and shit like that, or they're sitting around on welfare somewhere. You're paying for them anyway. You ain't saving no money doing that. Or they're going to end up homeless, and you're paying to have their camps removed and shit like that. One way or another, you're paying for it. You can pay now or you can pay later. You're not saving any money by doing that. The city of Chicago spends $68,000 per child to educate. School choice would allow us to pick a better school. He isn't saying defund education. No, he's not saying it, but the parents will say it. The parents of those schools. If you all of a sudden come up with school choice, some of those children are that we had that in this country before, by the way. We had all of that stuff. White parents didn't want their kids going to school with black kids. And the black kids' schools got less of the money. I'm just going to tell you, that's what would end up happening under that program. I truly believe you start having segregated programs. If you all of a sudden start allowing the parents to pick and choose based on this stuff, well, I don't want my kids going to a violent school in Chicago or this. We're gonna start having segregation again. I'm not a fan of it. As the Supreme Court once ruled, separation but equal is not equal. I've Guy bathes in orange fake tan makeup. Other dude wears mascara and eyeliner. You saying that Biden? Oh, you talking about on my screen? You're saying that Trump wears orange fake tan makeup and JD Vance wears mascara. It's funny you say, when I look at this picture closely, it does look like that's true. JD Vance's eyes are really darker, and that is funny. I never thought of that. Everybody knows Trump is putting orange shit on him. That's not even up for debate. But I didn't think about that about JD Vance until you said it. And when you look at JD Vance, it does look like he has something dark around his eyes. That is funny. That is funny. Wow. But yeah, Trump and the orange stuff on Trump is obvious. I don't know why he wears that. I mean, it's not like anybody believes that's his actual skin color. I'm like, what does his skin color look like under there? He must be really fucking pale. Moving on with the program. Vance is a lizard. JD Vance is a lizard? What do you mean by that? Trump looks like he has red devil horns. Ooh, I'll leave that alone. Biden just tried to take Trump's look. Watch the debate, then 2 days after. Well, I'd be curious. I mean, you're telling me, because Biden has had a bunch of speeches since the debate. I haven't seen him looking orange. Maybe he did something stupid in one of the meetings, but Trump looks orange every time. Whatever Trump is doing, he's doing it regularly. I haven't seen Biden looking orange like that. As much as Trump golfs, you would think he would have a good natural tan. Well, everybody don't tan very well. I've dated some redheads that they don't. I mean, some people don't tan well. So, I mean, I get what you're saying, but everybody don't tan well. Who cares what Trump looks like? He is smarter than all you in the chat. Probably right about that to some degree. I mean, the amount of accomplishments Trump has had, I mean, but I will tell you this. When you're born into unlimited wealth, you got a head start that you and I will never catch up to. I don't care how fucking smart you become, how many degrees or how educated you become. It's hard to catch up to somebody who already is filthy rich as a toddler. So it'd be different if he was somebody who worked their way up from nothing to something, but he was born already knowing that he didn't have to worry about money. He knew that from the time he could talk. So look, he had a hellified advantage. I mean, when I went to school to get my first degree, to get my associate's degree in electronics technology, I was an unloader at UPS. So I had to get up at 5 in the morning, and I was on a bus. I didn't have a car in Chicago. I was on a bus, had to go all on the other side of town to go to college. Got out of school at like noon, came home all the way back on the other side of town, had like a quick lunch for an hour or two. Then I had to go back downtown Chicago as an unloader for UPS. And I would get home at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I had homework. I'm beat from unloading hot ass trucks all day. He don't have to do no shit like that. It's a lot easier to focus on getting a college education where you don't have to work simultaneously and you're not catching a fucking bus. You're driving around in a Benz. You got chauffeurs picking you up. You're damn right he's farther along than everybody else. Nobody else has those fucking advantages. I mean, I would love to have that shit. I would have went straight for a PhD. I got a master's degree, by the way. I would have went straight for a PhD if I had no fucking worries in life. If I could walk around yelling Hakuna Matata everywhere I want. So yeah, he's smarter. He's had advantages. Looking in he's smarter than everybody. Like that's some kind of accomplishment when you got no worries in your life. When your teacher can come home and teach you while you're still in the fucking bed. Yes, he has advantages. He probably got taught by a teacher that had 5 or 6 students. Didn't have to compete with anybody else to get the teacher's attention or anything. You should have it. You should be smarter than everybody else. Looking in the comments. Smarter. That's funny. Have money, learn to grow and keep it. Well, I don't think Trump really needed to learn to grow and keep it. The money was infinite. I don't know how much his dad left him, but his dad was insanely wealthy. Now, Trump has turned whatever was left to him and grew it to make more money out of it. There's no denying Trump profited off of his inheritance. But I will tell you this, I think if any of us was left $100 million or $10 million or even $1 million. A bunch of us in this forum right now, if somebody gave you $1 million and you had a chance to invest it, you could probably live off of it comfortably for the rest of your life. It's a lot easier to make money when you got it already. People give you tips, and I mean, just the interest on Trump's money is enough to fucking live off for us. I mean, the advantages are insane that he had. It's not comparing him to a mere mortal doesn't even make sense. I mean, the advantages is literally like he shows up to the racetrack and everybody is on their mark, getting set, getting ready to run, and they gave him a Ferrari, and somehow we're cheering on how he got across the finish line much quicker than all the other people that are still running behind him. I mean, yeah, he should win. He should win. Look in the comments. People mix up the small $10 million business loan he talked about and his actual inheritance. Very different. Hell, even the $10 million business loan. I'll tell you this, if you could give everyone in this forum a $10 million business loan that they had to pay back, I would assume a lot of the folks in here would make a decent enough investment where they would end up repaying that $10 million and still having profit left over. It's a lot easier to make money when you got that kind of money. It just is. So the advantages he had is going to put him way ahead of everybody else. I mean, like I said, most of us had to work and go to school simultaneously. Like in my case, not only did I have to work while going to school, but now I got to pay the student loans back, part of that. I mean, he ain't doing none of that stuff. He ain't got none of those worries, none of that stressful shit happening. When he's in school, he's dealing with the teacher. I'm dealing with the teacher. I'm dealing with my employer. Your employer don't give a fuck about you being in school. He wants you at work tomorrow. He don't care nothing about you failing in school because you got to work late. He's not dealing with that. He got a level head. He can do a lot more. In comments, he turned 1 million into 2 billion. Can you do that? First of all, there's no way I'm going to believe that Trump's father, who was insanely wealthy, only left him $1 million. I don't buy that. I believe Trump got a $1 million loan from his dad and started profiting off of it. But when his dad died, he got flushed with a hell of a lot more money. All of the money that he got does not stem from that $1 million loan you're pointing out. He received an inheritance from his dad. And it was a lot more than $1 million. That's not being factored into your statement. Hard Dog, appreciate the super chat, though. Thank you for the support on the program. But yeah, he got a lot more money than $1 million from his dad. BS, Trump took $1 million loan, but he got a huge inheritance. Yeah, he got a huge inheritance. If Trump's dad died and didn't leave him a penny, Trump would be talking about that. He would be talking about, not only did I turn $1 million into a fortune, I did it without my dad giving me a cent. He gave it to my brothers and sisters. He's not saying that because he received a ton of money. I thought the casino had the upper hand. How do you bankrupt? I don't know how you bankrupt the casino. I don't know. But there are statements that Trump bankrupted the casino. I personally don't know how you do that. 18-year-old in high school won the lottery, invited the whole class to Hawaii for graduation. He died the first night of alcohol and intoxication. Damn. That's what happens when you don't have handlers. You need handlers. There's a lot of rich people who don't have handlers and they do dumb shit. What even take Trump, for instance? Now, Trump is not going to go broke by any means because he has a lot of adoration and an endless supply of money coming in from MAGA. But take MAGA out of the picture for President Trump, and you got Rudolph Giuliani, or you got Mike Lindell. You need a handler. If you don't have somebody that you're willing to listen to, that can knock some sense into your head, if you're just surrounded by yes men, you can go broke no matter how much money you get. And I'll submit to you that if Trump did not have the unlimited financial backing of MAGA, he would be on the way to going broke. He would be on the way to going broke because them lawsuits and stuff would be kicking in. He would be on the way to going broke because he's getting all this money being fed to him from MAGA. He'll be okay. But like I mentioned, Rudolph Giuliani and Mike Lindell of My Pillow, they don't have that. And they are going broke. They are going broke. They needed handlers to tell them, listen, I know you love Trump, but you can't go down this road with him. This is not going to be good for you. They didn't have handlers. They don't have finances left over. Both of those men are doing whatever they can to hide the little money they got from all of those creditors they now have. Trump could get on the phone or get on and hold a meeting and ask that, I need to raise enough money to pay Ruby Freeman off, or I need to raise enough money to do, and people would donate. Rudolph Giuliani and Mike Lindell, the My Pillow guy, can't do that. Looking in the comments, spitting lies, cuz fathers, what is this? It's fishers of men. Folks, do you see the size of some people's dialogue where they're responding? If I'm stating propaganda, if I'm talking lies, if I'm speaking flat out bullshit, why not take some of that time to not only chastise me on the lies and bullshit I'm spewing, but actually add some dialogue so I don't know what the hell you're talking about. To just simply say you're spitting lies doesn't do a damn thing for the program or even your comment. Let me know what I'm lying about. If you got me, I'll concede the point. But just spitting lies, that's meaningless. That doesn't say shit. I mean, why not just put the clown emoji on there if you want to do something useless? Looking in the comments, Trump standing with his puppet, J.D. Vance, and Don Jr. is crying. Is Don Jr. really? I'm looking at CNN behind me. Is Don Jr. crying? Really? Oh my God! Wow. Kushner made $2 billion from the Saudis because he was close to president. What the fuck, America? That's true. But I'm not going to pretend like Hunter Biden did not use his dad's name to profit as well. He just was not as responsible and on using narcotics. But Hunter Biden, if he was within his faculties, if he wasn't a drugged out individual, he would have made a bunch of money off of Biden as well. I mean, think about it. If your dad was Joe Biden, who's been in politics since he was 29 years of age, and now he's like 81, I don't think any of us out here would not have used his name in some way, fashion, or form to get paid. I mean, that's how the system works. That ain't something unique to Biden. I mean, if your dad was in Washington, eventually the words "hook me up with a job" is gonna come out of your mouth. You can find, I'll be an intern. Do you know another senator that needs to sit? I mean, anything. Find me some shit. Why do I have to go out here and unload trucks for a living? I mean, so yeah. But Hunter Biden, because of his drug use and all of that, he didn't turn and get rich like Ivanka and Jared Kushner. By the way, not only did they get $2 billion from the Saudis, Ivanka got Trump family. They all got U.S. citizenship while he was president. It doesn't come up a lot in the MAGA circles, but clearly, when Trump says, "I didn't take a salary," yeah, but you made a lot of things happen that were worth a fortune for your family. Looking in the comments, families should be excluded from any administration. Whatever happened to nepotism being illegal? Yeah, if Obama had got in the White House and started handing out jobs to his daughters, his daughters were too young, but handing out jobs to family members, the right would have went crazy for that shit. Not only did Trump give out jobs to his family members, he did it against the wishes of the FBI. Jared Kushner, the FBI, because of his prior connections, the FBI ruled that he would be a security threat. They didn't want to even give him security clearance to enter the White House. Trump made them do that. Can you imagine if Obama did that? The right would have a problem with that. He actually made the FBI go around their own best wishes or their own better wishes and let Jared Kushner in the White House. CNN, LOL. Yeah, I got CNN, nobody, but it's the same. I mean, they're showing the Republican National. I don't even know if Fox News would even show the Democratic National Convention. And for folks who don't favor Trump, for folks who do not like Trump, I'm going to bring this up. This is why Trump got elected in 2016, because I think daughter is governor now, but Mike Huckabee brought that up. He was like, if I got as much free news coverage as Trump, I would have won, because Mike Huckabee ran for president a few terms ago. And right now you got CNN running Trump all day. I mean, since Trump has had so much airtime on CNN, Fox News would never give Biden that much airtime. When Biden gives speeches, Fox News will play about 5 minutes of it and cut away from that shit. And then they start criticizing him while the speech is going on in the background with no audio. CNN is letting Trump speak. MSNBC is letting Trump speak. That helps Trump out. So if you favor Trump, this is good. This is really good. They're letting Trump speak and giving him plenty of airtime, even on liberal networks. And there are liberals that may hear Trump speak and be like, you know what? He ain't as racist as they say, or he ain't as bad as they say. Maybe I'll look into voting for him. That's why Fox doesn't let Joe Biden speak, because some people may look at Joe Biden, you know, he don't sound as bad as they say. You know, maybe this does make sense. So they prevent it from happening by not giving him airtime. But I don't know why. But CNN and MSNBC has been showing Trump all weekend. Now, obviously, somebody tried to shoot the guy, but they've been giving him credit before that. All of the times he walked out of the courtroom and chastised the media, he's being given free airtime there. And we know when he walks out of the courtroom, it literally turns into a campaign speech. The guy is a genius. The guy is a mastermind at using the media. So shout out to Trump. He could easily be our next president. It was only an ear. Jesus, says 22 Square. What the hell are you, Mike Tyson? You okay with taking a man's ear off? Oh, come on, be nice. You were acting like CNN and the rest were giving Trump puff pieces when they all hit. Wait a minute. You were acting like CNN and the rest were giving Trump puff pieces when they were all hit pieces. What do you mean by that? Because Trump wouldn't even go on MSNBC. I get your point that you're trying to say that CNN or MSNBC is a little tough on Trump. When Trump was president, he wouldn't even fuck with MSNBC or CNN. Wouldn't even allow, he went strictly to Fox. Trump would call in and talk to Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham. He'd be on Jesse Waters, had Jesse Waters on Air Force One. Trump don't even take tough interviews. So I get your point, but, you know, Biden may have stuttered or whatever the case may be and looked like a senile old man, but at least he has appeared on some of that stuff. Obama took a Super Bowl interview with Bill O'Reilly. When Trump's time came around, oh, it's NBC hosting the Super Bowl. They lean left. I'm not doing it. Same with the Correspondents' Dinner. Trump don't deal with tough interviews. He only talk to people who are going to toss snowballs at him. So it is what it is. I can't stand Trump's voice. He speaks of himself in third person. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, you know, even I might speak to chicks like that. You know, the guy on top of you is about to put in work. You should kiss the dude. I mean, think of yourself in third person. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Show your girl your literary skills. Looking in the comments, by the way, you tweaking. I wouldn't even get close to that man, says Toby. A lot of women like Trump, though. Trump has some badass women, I'm telling you. Say what you want about Trump's looks. Trump scored some badass chicks. Supermodels, Playboy models. I mean, he was a regular at the Playboy Mansion with Hugh Hefner. I mean, by the way, Trump wasn't a bad-looking dude back in the day. I mean, he's tall. He's incredibly wealthy. Trump scored a lot of badass women. And I'll tell you something before I continue the program. And I do agree money has something to do with it, but I think he could. I mean, if you're a little businessman, and even if he was making $40,000-$50,000 a year, he's a tall guy. You know, I think it'd have been all right. But I will say this: fact is, Trump scored some badass women throughout his adult life, which is why I will never, and I repeat, never buy into the notion that grab her by the pussy was locker room talk. That is absolute bullshit. A guy that claims to be worth $15 billion, that has had plenty of supermodels in his history, that has been regularly at the Playboy Mansion, has to lie on his dick and make up stories. Bullshit. If I had even a fraction of Trump's money, I could make those stories come true. It's bullshit. No $15 billion man has to make lies on his dick. Everything that dude says, if a guy got $15 billion and he tell you I had 40 women in my crib, butt naked, eating grits off my dick, I believe that. 15 billion? And you got to make up stories? Who the fuck believes that? Who believes that? You got $15 billion. You ain't making up shit. That's insane. That a man worth $15 billion got to make up stories in his locker room talk. No, that stuff happened. That stuff happened. You have $15 million, you can get a woman. You can get women to do anything you want to do. You ain't making up stories. Looking in, and that's just logic. It ain't bashing Trump. It ain't supporting Trump. It's logic. It's reality. Any of us, if you got any man watching right now, if you have $15 billion, you can get a woman to do all of the stuff that Trump talked about. You don't need to make up stories and lie on your dick. That's just stupid that this guy's got that kind of money and we supposed to believe that he's making up stories. It's ridiculous. Looking in the comments though, Dems flipping Republican all day, says Troy Brick. Well, there was also the red wave or the red tsunami that was allegedly supposed to happen. Here's what I've seen. When Trump got indicted, well, let's go back even further. When they went into Trump's, let's go back even further that when they impeached Trump, this is only making his support grow more. When they did a raid on Trump's house, you're going to help Trump get elected. When they indicted Trump, took a mugshot of him, well, see, you just won the election for President Trump. When he was found guilty of 34 felonies, see, you're going to help Trump win the election. Now he gets damn near shot in the face. Well, see, he just won. I'm going to tell you something. Now, that could be true, by the way. I'm not saying it ain't true, but I will tell you something. The polls don't reflect that. If you look at Trump's poll numbers after each one of those events, it don't show this astronomical increase of support that folks are saying it guarantees. No, that stuff ain't happening. Biden has remained competitive with Trump the whole damn time. And I'll tell you this, since Biden has had 3-4 public speeches after that horrible debate performance, his poll numbers have went up. His poll numbers are starting. He's still competitive with Trump in the polls. Now, depends on what network you're watching. If you watch right-wing media, you think Trump is about to win all 50 states. He about to beat Ronald Reagan's 49 state victory. But I'm telling you, the polls are not showing. And I'll give you a clip. I think I played this before, but I'll give you a clip. The polls are not showing Biden losing as bad as many on the right believe. I'm not saying that Biden is not losing, but them court cases and all that stuff, it's not leading to Trump running away with it like many on the MAGA side is saying. It's just not. Look at the polls out there. Each time that stuff happens, look at the polls and you'll see. I'm trying to run a clip, but it's telling me something about some damn ad blockers or something. Let me see if I can bring it up. Because I would like for you to see this because this came out this weekend. And there we go. I think that should click it on my... There we go. All right, I want you to check this out when it gets past this 5-second commercial. This is what I'm talking about in regards to Biden and the polls that people are saying that he is, he's running away
Audible
with it.
pays me 8 to...
Okay, wait a minute. That is not what I'm looking for. That's shots being fired at Trump's rally. Maybe I don't have it. But what I was trying to point out is that the polls are now saying that some of the polls are saying that Biden is taking a lead on Trump. Is that correct? Maybe not. But there are polls that are now saying that Biden has began to take a lead on Trump. Now, I know a lot of you folks may say that's not true or you disagree with it, but real quick in the comments, I don't normally like to block, ban, or censor anybody, but I do believe in free speech and I believe in giving everybody a chance to get their comments in. So if we get somebody that types the same thing over and over again, because you're making it difficult for other people to talk, I have no choice but to block you. So feel free to state your point, even if it's critical of me. I'm fine with that, but don't type the same damn thing over and over again. That's all I'm asking. Don't do that. Looking in the comments real quick, let me see if I can find what I was trying to point out, because yeah, it's looking like Trump is leading in the polls, but Biden is catching up. The more Biden speaks coherently, the more folks are starting to is running away with it. Look at the polls. That actually is not true. I mean, it's not true. And I see in the comments, Jeff Norman says that's funny. Well, you thought it was funny when they were telling you that Trump lost in 2020. You have this mindset where the belief is there's nothing that Biden can do. Trump is guaranteed to win. All right, understand, because even though as somebody who may lean left, I am totally willing to admit Biden has no guarantee of winning, and I do believe Trump has no guarantee of winning. If you get into the mindset where you believe your candidate cannot lose, you're liable to get your feelings hurt on election day. So let's see if I can find this. I wanted to bring it up and give you guys a world. Okay, here it is. See what you guys think about this. And I'm sure some of you folks will disagree with this if I can make this happen. I don't know why this damn thing starts talking about pop-up blockers and shit like that. Okay, let me see if I can make it happen for you guys. Look in the comments. I am President Trump's legal. Trump will win, sir, in the comments. Well, he might. He might. I'm not going to say he's going to lose for sure, but I'm not going to say he's going to win for sure either. That's where I think the issue is. Some of you folks believe that there is nothing can be done and Trump has a guaranteed victory here. That ain't true. That is absolutely not true. Biden takes lead over Trump in new election poll as voters weigh will stay on ticket. And this is a new article. This ain't even the one I was looking for. Wow. Here we go. This is what I'm actually looking for to give you guys a little bit of a taste of.
The in-demand news conference yesterday is first in 8 months there. So we wanted to bring that, of course, to you. And so many people, hundreds of thousands, were watching with us yesterday. So we appreciate that as always. Do want to let you know about a new poll that is out for the race for the White House. And in it, Biden takes a slight lead over Trump in this new poll. It's a new national NPR PBS NewsHour Marist poll that has found that President Biden has taken a slight 50% to 48% lead over former President Trump in a head-to-head matchup. The results also found that no other mainstream Democrat that has been floated as a potential replacement for Biden on the Democrat ticket, if the 81-year-old eventually drops out of the race, performs better than him against Trump. Almost.
Notice that is on a Fox affiliate, by the way, too. That's not MSNBC. That's a Fox affiliate telling you that story. So when I see the comments, and by the way, I can't pronounce the name. What the hell does that say? Shit's weird. I saw your comment. Shit's weird. 67. Cute. Thank you. Appreciate the accolade there. I can't. Damn, my eyesight is getting bad as hell. Dry voter or something. Thank you. Says I love you, handsome liberal. Thank you. By the way, Trump is having trouble getting up and down from sitting. Says Lori. Is that true? I'm not gonna hate on the man that somebody shot at the damn day before. So let me see him having trouble getting up and down a few. Now I know the wound, the bullet wound didn't affect his ability to get up and get down, but the man did get somebody tried to kill a man just 48 hours ago. So I'm not even gonna pay attention to his cognitive abilities at least for a few days. I mean, I'd be a nervous wreck if a bullet came that close to the end of my life. I mean, it might make me rethink my whole damn presidential campaign. What it looks like it is doing is making him rethink his fucking mouth. He hasn't been very inflammatory since that bullet went. All right, I don't know what just happened there. Appreciate you folks that said reconnected, but yeah. I would say, hey, I just subbed. I like that you are so honest about this shit. Keep going, man. Thank you, Brookie. Appreciate the comment. And finally, somebody who doesn't think I'm a piece of shit. Thank you. By the way, I do appreciate that. Let me give you my spiel for those folks who maybe tuned in for the first time. I do believe in free speech. We go left of Bernie Sanders, Trump having dinner with QAnon. It is liberal, have MAGA hats laying everywhere, because I do believe that conservatives, Republicans, and particularly MAGA often get blocked, banned, or censored when they're in the media or when they want to speak on social media. So I make it clear I don't do that here. So you will always see the MAGA hat. You will always see me make it clear I am MAGA friendly. So it's not up to the politics. I believe in free speech. So that's why you will see that. But yeah, I do believe that there is a possibility that Biden is not doing as bad as people are saying he's doing. And the reason why is simple. Everybody's saying, well, why the hell would anybody be dumb enough to vote for President Biden? And I give the same answer I give all the time, is that you can talk about Biden's economy, Biden's inflation rate, wars breaking out under Biden. The Trump that many folks favor, $2 gas, good inflation rates or low inflation rates, a good economy, that's a different guy than you're getting in 2024. As I pointed out earlier in the broadcast, the Trump of 2016, you didn't have abortion bans. You didn't have a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. He wasn't talking about giving police immunity from prosecution. There was no such thing as Project 2025 or Agenda 47. The Trump that we're getting in 2024 is a different guy for many folks that are not MAGA than he was in 2016. I'm fine. I would love to get $2 gas again, but I don't want to get it if I got to get a cop's fucking immunity, which is something that Trump is promising. I don't want to give police officers immunity so I can get $2 gas back. It's not the same Trump. Trump is went considerably further to the right for his 2024 campaign compared to his 2016 campaign. That's why a lot of folks are like, even though Biden's economy suck, they're willing to still roll the dice on Biden, because Trump has added a lot of whipped cream to his sundae that didn't used to be there. The ice cream didn't have as many calories as it has this time going around. So, and he's not taking that stuff back. You don't hear Trump going ape shit over Project 2025. He's just saying, I ain't got nothing to do with it. That's it. That's it. He should be going ape shit over that stuff. That stuff is way far to the right. He's not making money. He made a big deal over transgender women playing on female sports teams. He made a big deal over taking down Confederate statues. He made a big deal over athletes taking the knee during the anthem. But Project 2025 barely gets a speech at all. I mean, every rally, he's talking about athletes taking a knee, or he's talking about Black Lives Matter burning down cities. Project 2025 is radical as fuck. He's talking about defunding the police every rally. He is barely even discussing Project 2025. And the only reason he's discussing it is because it's growing in popularity. So he can't just ignore it anymore, because there's simply too many links from Trump to Project 2025.
Almost 2/3 of the third.
But he should be. And by the way, very few others in the Republican Party are outraged about Project 2025 also. I think Marco Rubio, when he was still a presidential contender, just basically said, yeah, well, they're a think tank and they do think tank things. That's it. The radical shit they're promising, that's all you could come up with. So I'm just going to tell you what's making folks entertain re-elected Biden is a lot of radical stuff that is coming from Trump. I still have yet to hear a decent explanation for why police should be granted immunity from prosecution. That's a Trump promise. So I would ask some of the Trump supporters, should an American citizen that's worried about Trump giving police immunity, should you just ignore that? I mean, how should you respond to that? To me, that sounds dangerous as hell, that a presidential contender is entertaining giving the police immunity from prosecution. Can he do it? I don't think so. But if it's one thing Trump has done more than any other president I've ever seen, it's shown us he can do what people think he can't do. So if he's promising to get a police immunity from prosecution, I'm not confident that he can. I'm not confident from anybody who says he absolutely cannot do it. I drive a lot. I'm in the car all damn day. I don't want a cop pulling me over that has complete fucking immunity. I don't see the benefit. I don't see how that's not scary as hell. I'll give you a clip of it, because I know a lot of folks come back always with, it's propaganda, he didn't say that, and things like that. So I like to be able to bring up various clips to let you guys entertain his comments, and I'll let you guys feed off of it. You can tell me in the comments where the hell I got it wrong or if I sound crazy when I'm saying this, but I don't get why he would promise to get a police immunity. I just don't get it. Bringing up that clip.
Better than ever before. We're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to work with Democrat mayors who are running in every instance, running them. Democrat mayors and many Democrat governors. And we're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to bring them back like they used to be. We're going to make them safe places again. We're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution. So they're not prosecuted for doing their job.
I don't know what he means by that. What, okay, he said he wanted to get a police immunity so they're not prosecuted for doing their job. What job does the police want to do that they need immunity to do that they can't do today? What are police being prevented from doing today that granting them immunity would allow them to do? I'd be curious to, and I see in the comments somebody said that's a deep fake. Okay, you can call it what you want. If it's a deep fake, then because of the seriousness of this, Trump should be out there telling you it's a deep fake, and he's not. It's not a deep fake, but I appreciate you trying to throw that out there. Cops already have qualified immunity. Yeah, exactly. So what additional powers is he trying to get the police? Because he states they need immunity from prosecution so they can do their job. What part of the job of law enforcement is being hindered that they need immunity to make it happen? You know what? I'll play it again. Listen to the beginning of what he said, and I'll give you my interpretation of what I believe he's talking about.
Our cities have become a beacon of hope, safety, beauty, better than ever before. We're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to work with Democrat mayors. And
connected. Okay, the thing is going in and out. He said we're going to rebuild our cities. I'm going to see if I can switch over to Wi-Fi because I think the cell signals are going in and out. Okay, I want to give you my interpretation of this. He said we're going to rebuild our cities, and he said because Democrats are running them. So think about that. There's plenty of cities ran by Republican. There are plenty of cities ran by Republican mayors. So when he says Democrats are running the cities, you already know what type of cities he's talking about, but here it is again.
Our cities, we're going to work with Democrat mayors who are running in every instance, running them. Democrat mayors and many Democrat governors. And we're going to rebuild our cities. We're going to bring them back like they used to be. We're going to make them safe places again. We're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution. So they're not prosecuted for doing their job.
Now notice, he's not talking about cities in rural Alabama somewhere to take out meth labs or something like that. He's talking about places like Chicago, Philadelphia, Detroit, things like that. Now, we could obviously go down the racial element, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm hearing is this. I am sick and tired of seeing people talk shit to the police. I want to give them immunity so they can beat your ass at will. That's what I'm hearing. I mean, because that's so they can do their job. Maybe you want to arrest somebody or you want to get some information from somebody, but they're exercising their Fifth Amendment right, the right to remain silent, and you need to know what they know to do your job. Maybe you want to take drugs off the street, but you pull somebody over who wants to demand their Fourth Amendment right be protected, the right against unwarranted searches and seizures. So you using your Fourth Amendment or Fifth Amendment rights is preventing that cop from doing his job because he may know you have drugs, but because he can't search your car without a warrant, he can't do his job. You're preventing them from searching your car. If I get a cop's immunity, now you don't have those rights to throw in the way as a hurdle. He can go around you and search your car whether you like it or not and take drugs off the street. That's what I'm hearing when he says give them immunity so they can do their job. Because if you hold the police accountable to the Bill of Rights, yeah, sometimes they cannot do their job because people can use things like insubmissible evidence, illegal searches, illegal seizures, and have stuff thrown out. Well, if they get immunity, you can't use any of that stuff anymore. They can now. Now keep in mind, Trump was a huge fan of stop and frisk under Rudolph Giuliani. He also was a big fan of stop and frisk under Sheriff Joe Arpaio down in Arizona. In fact, Sheriff Joe Arpaio was ordering his deputies to stop and frisk brown people because he was having a problem at the border. He was ordering his deputies to stop and demand folks that were brown to show paperwork to prove they had a legal right to be in this country. Sheriff George Pio was indicted and about to do prison. He actually was indicted and convicted of violating folks' civil rights down there in Arizona. Because if you're stopping brown people and demanding they show paperwork and proof that they belong in this country, you're going to stop some American citizens because they all look the damn same. There's a hell of a lot of Mexican-born Americans down there in his state, in Arizona. So he was indicted and convicted, found guilty in a court of law of violating people's civil rights, and he was about to go to prison, and Trump pardoned him for it back in 2017. Trump pardoned him for it. Trump was also, as I pointed out, a big fan of Rudolph Giuliani stopping and frisking people as well. So this immunity thing kind of plays along with Trump himself. Now, remember the whole Biden is racist and vote for me, you ain't black? Stop and frisk has a horrible history on black people. Undeniable. Undeniable. In fact, the city of New York admitted under Rudolph Giuliani, they injured a lot of innocent black people with their stop and frisk laws. Now, Rudolph Giuliani got credit for lowering crime in that city, which if you can violate people's Bill of Rights, you could bring down crime. You know how many guns you could take off the street? Illegal guns you could take if you could just go in people's homes and look for them without them being able to consent of you entering their home or not. Stop and frisk is exactly that. You get pulled over, you don't have the right to stop them from looking in your car or going through your pockets and shit like that. Yeah, it's going to lead to a lot of drugs and crime, criminals being captured. But you're also going to violate a lot of innocent people. A lot of innocent people. So that's where the trade-off is. Are you so focused on bringing down crime that you're willing to violate innocent people in the process as long as it brings down crime? Giuliani was okay with that, and Trump was too. In the comments, my convictions as in my beliefs. Okay. Damn, bro, you blink it up to make up for other people not blinking. Stop staring at your damn screen. Stop staring at your screen. Generally, when I'm on here, well, first of all, I'm staring into a bright-ass light, damn it. You're not. I'm conversing with dozens of people simultaneously while reading on the internet. It happens. Shit, it happens. When the mind is working, blinking happens. All right, fair enough. What about Biden talking about a racial jungle? It was deemed as a racist comment. Biden gets no pass. I think the only thing that benefits President Biden is his opposition is Trump. If Biden was running against Nikki Haley or somebody like that, because I believe that if you believe Biden has done and said racial shit, which he absolutely have, so you vote against Biden and you elect Trump, you haven't escaped racial shit. You just switched the person that was doing it. Trump has a lot of racist stuff in his past as well. That's why I say if Nikki Haley was running, you wouldn't have that. Then you could leave Biden if you believe he's been racist, vote for Trump. I mean, vote for Nikki Haley and get away from it. But, I mean, Trump lost lawsuits showing he wasn't written to people of color. They're going to bring up the Central Park 5. I brought up them tweeting out white power videos and things like that. That stuff happened. He's done all of that stuff. So leaving Biden because you find Biden to be racist and voting for Trump, I don't know if you're really escaping it. I really don't. Trump is lucky he can still wear sunglasses. Trump? Because he almost lost his ear? My God. If you even feel like Trump is racist, Lorenzo, what do you mean? If you even feel like Trump is racist? I don't get that one. I'll tell you, Trump was loved by black people up until 2016. Yeah, he was. Trump loved Hillary Clinton up until 2016 too. What's your point? Trump was hanging around Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. Look how he treats them now. What's your point? Trump was hanging around Oprah Winfrey. What's your point? People change. I heard Tyson. Now, Tyson likes Trump. And it's interesting you would bring up Mike Tyson. Because one of the things I often say is when blacks of prominence, I'm talking about black celebrities that have a large black supporting base. You know, a black person that's an actor, a rapper, a musician, in Mike Tyson's case, a boxer, a black person with a large black fan base. It is very rare to find a person that fits that category supporting Trump. If you are black and you have a large black fan base and you start supporting Trump, you're going to lose a significant portion of your fan base. I think Mike Tyson is the only one I can think of that didn't. Kanye West did it. Steve Harvey started talking to Trump and noticed his fan base was going away, so he got the hell away from Steve Harvey. Ice Cube, the rapper, was reaching out to Trump. Noticed his fan base was going away, and he got the hell away from Trump. And there's very few blacks that have a black. Now, Larry Elder or the Hodge twins or Candace Owens or Diamond and Silk, well, one of them's dead, but yeah, they can work with Trump all damn day. Their fan base is not black. But if you have a black fan base and you can't affiliate with Trump, it's gonna be over with. It's gonna be over with. The minute you start now, Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, I think a couple of them got pardoned for some crimes, but they not exactly showing up at Trump rallies endorsing them. You don't see Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne did what he had to do, spoke favorably of Trump, met with Trump, got his federal pardon, and he got the hell away from Trump. You don't see Lil Wayne appearing in public with Trump. He ain't got no songs devoted to President Trump. He got the hell away from Trump after he got what he wanted to get out of him. And of course, I'm assuming Trump got a little bit out of Lil Wayne by being able to say, listen, there's a black rapper that is well known that is hanging around me. Once Lil Wayne got his pardon, he was done with Trump. You don't see him associated with Trump at all. So yeah, if you are African American and you got a primarily black fan base, you're not going to keep it if you support Trump. I don't know of anybody else other than Mike Tyson that's got away with doing that. Trump said he liked Lil Jon on The Apprentice because he was one of the good ones. Then later said Kanye is one of the good. Well, Trump likes people that like him, by the way. Trump likes people that like him. When I was at a Trump rally, you know, I stood up and applauded something because everything Trump promises some good shit. I mean, I stood up and applauded President Trump when I was at this rally. I was only maybe about 6 or 7 seats back. I was in line for about 6 hours waiting to get into that motherfucker, so I got good seats. I mean, he said some decent stuff, but like I said, my biggest problem with Trump is him promising to give police immunity. That's really bad to me. I'm not here to defend Biden. There's a lot of shit you can bring up that's bad about Biden, but giving cops immunity from prosecution is kind of a deal breaker for me. If he doesn't explain that, I don't need to know what else he's promising. I don't care if it is $2 gas or a great economy. I don't want to be on the streets driving, which is what I do all damn day for work, knowing that if I get pulled over, a cop could have complete immunity from what they do to me. I don't want to be involved in that. So until I hear Trump clear up what that means, I don't need to hear about the $2 gas. Now, I know a hell of a lot of MAGA have interpreted it to mean this or mean that. And it could be right. My MAGA viewers, you might be right how you interpret what Trump meant. But I need to hear it from him because you might also be wrong. I need to hear from him what he meant when he says he wants to get. And by the way, I'm from Chicago. You hear him talking about, working with, he's talking about doing that in liberal areas, places where I'm at. What am I supposed to do? Ignore that for $2 gas? I can't do that. I'm pro-police till the sun comes up. I don't have a criminal record at all. Nothing. My criminal history is cleaner than most cops. But I still don't want to fuck with somebody that has immunity from prosecution. Guy might just be having a bad day. Fact is, I cut people off in traffic. I'm sure I do it. I'm not a perfect driver. My car don't drive itself. I make mistakes here and there. I haven't had a moving violation since 2015, but I do make mistakes. I don't want to pull over a cop that's pissed off at me for any reason, or maybe his wife dumped him and he's pissed off that I cut him off and now I'm dealing with a dude with fucking immunity? Really? So I need that to be explained. This is why I keep saying, the folks say that Biden sucks, and Trump's first term was so awesome. The Trump we're looking at in 2024 is not that Trump. The Trump from 2016 to 2020 did not talk about giving police immunity. That didn't happen. We didn't have the abortion rights going back to the states where all of these states are starting to slowly ban abortion. When 2016 to 2022, we didn't have a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. Now we're at risk of it being 7-2 or something like that. I like the $2 gas and the good economy, but these are big, radical changes. If we get rid of Biden and we go to Trump, Biden's gas prices, Biden's economy, 10 years from now, that shit'll be irrelevant. Nobody's going to be talking about how much gas cost when Biden was in office 10 years from now. You'll still be dealing with those Supreme Court justices. You'll still be dealing with police having immunity. That shit's lasts a lot longer. So I don't want to, try to win a battle and lose the fucking war in the process. I need to know what he means by granting police immunity. If you don't clear that up, I'm going to leave that as is. I'm not going to touch that. That's going to be one of those MC Hammer, can't touch this. I can't touch somebody talking about giving the police immunity. And by the way, for my Constitution-loving patriots that lean right, you shouldn't be okay with this. You should not be okay with this. You should be demanding, if you're on the right and you favor the Constitution, granting the police immunity means they have the right to violate your constitutional rights. Maybe you're carrying a gun and they just want to seize it because they don't like you carrying a gun. You should be speaking out against this too. Don't let your desire to protect the Constitution go to waste because you favor Trump. You should be, even if you're voting for Trump and you would never fuck with Biden under any circumstance, you should be demanding that Trump explain what the hell he mean by that. The idea that will just stop in liberal cities and never spread out to your neck of the woods is wishful thinking. They thought the same thing when George Bush passed the Patriot Act. Oh, it's only to deal with terrorists. Guess who was the primary victims of the Patriot Act now? It's American citizens, drug dealers, and whoever else they can pin it on. Same thing was when they came up with the RICO Act. Oh, it's just for them people. It'll never happen to us until it starts happening. So when he's talking about giving the police immunity, if you are on the right and you are somebody who often talks about the founding fathers' freedom and the Constitution, you should be asking for answers. This shouldn't be some shit coming from the liberals that are bashing Trump. This should be coming from everybody. What is he talking about when he talks about giving the police immunity? That to me is a deal breaker. I need to know. Tim, Trump has a plan to require police departments use stop and frisk. Yeah, Trump favors stop and frisk. There's no denying he favors stop and frisk. But I'm not going to put that one around him yet because he hasn't come out and publicly stated it. He publicly stated he intends to give police immunity. He came out and actually said that. I need to know what he means. That's not bashing Trump. That's not Trump derangement syndrome. Is it not smart to ask, sir, what do you mean by giving police immunity? What? Because he stated it will allow them to do jobs they normally would not be able to do. What are police trying to do today that they cannot do unless they have immunity? Like I said, I haven't heard the answer to that. Looking in the comments though, your allegiance isn't towards your orange boogie. My allegiance isn't towards any damn body. I'm willing to criticize Biden all day, every day. There's plenty of video evidence of police breaking the Constitution. Well, if they're given immunity, they're no longer breaking the Constitution. They can legally do it. Trump's inactions over COVID caused a lot of this inflation. Well, yeah, in my opinion, Trump handled inflation horribly. I don't like the idea that you got Trump and certainly Marjorie Taylor Greene suggesting that Dr. Fauci, and MAGA believes that Dr. Fauci should also do time. Here's what I don't understand. Dr. Fauci is an advisor. Dr. Fauci doesn't make laws. Dr. Fauci does not provide legislation. He's not the executive, judicial. He's not on any of the branches. What is the other branch? Executive, judicial. What is the other one I'm missing? Legislative. He's not on any of those branches. He just is an advisor. So nothing Dr. Fauci advises can become law unless the likes of Trump or some governor takes it and makes it law. I don't understand how after Trump was in office, we're going to go after Fauci and not after Trump, who put him on TV every day and actually listened and enacted some of his policies. That doesn't make sense to me. The defensive coordinator calls a play, the ball gets intercepted, and the coach gets no blame for that. It wouldn't have happened if the coach hadn't taken the advice from the defensive coordinator. It makes no sense to me. He did not have to take Fauci's advice. There's some weird stuff with Fauci, but that sure is a good point. Yeah, it makes no sense. We want to throw Fauci in jail, but the guy who continued putting, by the way, Trump can't, in my opinion, because Trump is not a virologist, so we don't expect Trump to know about viruses, despite him getting on TV and saying I know more about COVID than any damn thing, which is a flat out lie. But I will say this: Trump can't plead ignorance, because Trump would go on television with Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci is telling people to social distance and wear masks and give all his advice. Wash down your groceries, whatever that bullshit he was saying. Trump is standing right next to him when he's saying it. Later that night, Trump goes and holds a rally, and all of his supporters are yelling, "Fire Dr. Fauci." Trump is sitting up there indicating he is going to fire Dr. Fauci, smirking, smiling when they're saying it, letting them yell out, "Fire Dr. Fauci." So he clearly knows the American public, at least on his side of the aisle, is not happy with Fauci at all. You know what he does the next day? Goes right back on television and lets Dr. Fauci give more advice. And then the next night, he's back at another rally, letting people yell, "Fire the guy." And then he's back on television with him again, letting them give out advice. At what point does he become accountable? All he had to do is, because I don't believe he had the right to fire Dr. Fauci. I don't think he legally could do that. But he legally had the ability to reappoint Dr. Fauci to a different task force. Look, I don't feel confident in the way you're dealing with this, Fauci. I'm going to put you back on the HIV task force, and I'm going to appoint someone else over the pandemic. That's all he had to do. Put Ben Carson over it to somebody. But to leave the guy on television every day, and the guy is giving out advice that a lot of people now believe was bad advice, and the only way he gets on television to give out that advice is at Trump's blessing. How does Trump get a pass? That's the only way he's on television every day, is President Trump getting him out there. President Trump could have, like I said, reappointed him to a different, put him over SARS or Ebola or something else. Listen, right now this pandemic is out of control. I no longer have confidence in your ability to assist us with this matter. I'm going to appoint someone else. He had the ability to do that. He let him stay out there and continue giving advice that many on the MAGA side of the aisle believes was deadly. How does he get a pass? How are you going to lock Fauci up and let the guy who facilitated all the bad advice get a pass? Other than, I really like Trump, and I'm not going to hold him accountable. Something I'm hearing. Look at it in the comments. Trump gets passed, but want him. Trump gets passed, but want immunity. It's an issue we all need to worry on. Direct quote: in February, Trump released a plan that would require local law enforcement agencies to receive Justice Department grants to use stop and frisk, a controversial policing tactic. Yeah, Trump is absolutely behind, or not behind, but in favor of stop and frisk. There's no denying. I believe Trump certainly, remember the phrase or the tweet, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. I believe Trump is really upset with how a lot of people, particularly minorities, treat and disrespect police. A lot of Americans are. Hell, I don't even like seeing some people pop off to police. But the difference is, I understand at the end of the day, that person has a right. I mean, you have a legal right to cuss at cops. You have a legal right to demand a warrant before they search your shit. You have a legal right to the right to remain silent if you don't want to talk to them. You have a legal right to do all of that stuff. Does it make the cops' job harder? Yeah, it does. But you can't grant the public constitutional rights and then complain when they invoke and use them. And that's what the police often do. I believe Trump wants to take those rights away so that the police can do their job easier. That's what he means when he says, I want to get a police immunity so they can do their job without being prosecuted. Their job is to solve crime. Constitutional rights often get in their way of solving crime. So if I remove the constitutional rights, they can do their job. That's the way I interpret that. I mean, it is what it is. If I know you're selling drugs out of that house, or I feel confident of it, but I know you have a Fourth Amendment right that protects you against unwarranted searches and seizures, where I now got to go down to the police station and get a warrant to try to get in your house, giving you time to flush the drugs down the toilet or whatever. If I give the police immunity, they don't have to go through all of that. They can just go in your house and get what they need to get and arrest you. That's what he's talking about. That's what he's talking about. As I stated earlier, a lot of innocent people are going to get harmed with that, because cops make mistakes all the time. I personally, somebody who has no criminal history at all, I've been searched by cops just because they probably didn't like what they seen or something like that. Do you mind if I search your car? There's nothing in this motherfucker. Nothing. Why do you want to search my seatbelt violation? I got pulled over by a cop who told me he thought I didn't have a seatbelt on. Once he saw I had the seatbelt on, you don't mind if I get your license and registration? Goes back there, spends 20 minutes running me through all of the databases, comes back, do you mind if I search your car? This is over a seatbelt violation, where the cop sees he was wrong and I have the seatbelt on. So it's turned from a seatbelt violation to a fishing expedition. This happens to Americans of all backgrounds, by the way, not just black, all backgrounds, all the time. Now, you could, license plate light, I see that one too. You could do this, and a lot of folks on the right, well, look, it doesn't hurt you to just comply. You didn't do nothing wrong. Just let him do his job and you go about your day. First of all, that's a half-hour fucking stop. If you're on your way to work, maybe you don't have a half hour to let the cops go through your car and run all kinds of shit that's unnecessary. Also, this would happen to me. They're going through my car. I'm only a couple blocks from the job. So when I get to work, everybody wants to know why I'm getting searched. It's embarrassing. Point I'm making. It's embarrassing as hell that be sitting on the curb while the cops are digging through your trunk or going through your car and you ain't done it, because everybody driving by thinks your ass is guilty of something. Everybody driving by don't think that you are being searched unnecessarily. Everybody who sees the cops handcuff somebody or they believe those are guilty people. So that's the second thing. It's embarrassing as hell. The third thing, now remember I said number one, it may take up time you don't have. Number two is it's embarrassing as hell. Number three is far, far worse. Cops make mistakes. Dogs hit on drugs that do not exist. People have been arrested for drops of sugar and things on the floorboard in their car that wasn't drugs, and the police mistake them for being drugs. Cops make mistakes. That is why any attorney will tell you, have as little interaction with police as possible. Say as little as you can as possible. Because even though you may be 100% innocent, you don't know what's on the mind of that cop. Maybe that cop is trying to, get an additional arrest or something like that. The idea that they don't have quotas is bullshit. The idea that cops don't have quotas is bullshit. If you go join, I've never been a cop, and I'm telling you it's bullshit. If you join the force, and all of the cops on the force are averaging 7 to 8 tickets per day, and you join the force and you're only averaging 2, you don't think they're going to start asking you what the hell are you doing when you're on the streets? If all of the other cops are averaging 7 to 8 tickets per day, that's your quota. That's your quota. They don't have to tell you it's a quota. That's your quota. You can't come back every damn day only putting up 2 tickets and everybody else is getting 7 to 8. So the idea that they don't have a quota is bullshit. You do have a quota. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm not a fan of giving cops immunity for those 3 reasons. Number one being it takes a long time, and I don't want to sit there and wait 30, 40 minutes while they're going through my shit. Number two being it's embarrassing. People see you waiting by your car and while they doing all that. And number three being they do make mistakes. They do absolutely make mistakes. At the end of the day, people say, but just let them search your car. You're not going to get a cookie when it's over with. There is no benefit to letting the cop search your car. You get zero. The only thing that can happen when the police search your car is you either return back to the state you were before he searched your car, or negative things happen to you, like you get a fine or you end up going to jail. There is no improvement in your outcome. So why involve yourself in it? There's nothing good going to come out of it. Only bad or only a neutral outcome where you're already at, or something bad can come out of it. So why would you submit to that? Like I said, that's why every attorney tells you not to consent to searches, not to speak unnecessarily, because there's nothing good going to come out of it. So the only thing that can come out of it is bad, so why would you do it? Anyhow, YouTube channel called Delete Laws, a constitutional scholar who records police officers breaking the law. Yeah. And I see in the comments, Travis Couch says, those quotas are colorblind. I want to agree with you. However, here's the reason why I would push back in regards to saying that quotas are colorblind. If let's say I'm in a neighborhood, a diverse neighborhood, and I am trying to meet quotas, which group of people is more, if I'm pulling people over to give them tickets and things, which group of people are the tickets more likely to stick on, that are not going to show up to court with attorneys they can afford, or not going to fight back, they're just going to pay the fine? Which group is more likely that than the people you pull over? You don't pull over people who going to be able to beat it in court or prove that you was on some bullshit. You pull over the people you can get away with it on. So when you say that quotas are not colorblind, okay, then let's go with low income. And if you're in a neighborhood that's diverse, the majority of the people that's low income probably are going to be of one particular color. So it's not technically colorblind. But if I check your paperwork at the end of the year, you probably pulled over a lot more people from one group than the other, because you're going to go with people that you can feel more confident that the stuff you're doing is going to stick. You don't want to have tickets and shit overturned or people showing up with lawyers fighting back. You want to pull people over that you're going to write them a ticket, they're going to go to court and have to pay it. That's the poor people. So yeah, you're not looking for one specific color, but the way you're doing things almost ensures that's what you're going to be netting. That's just how it is. You don't have to say I'm not doing it based on this. No, but that's who you're getting based on the rules you're using. MAGA doesn't care. They are cult members. They do as they are told. What do you say? They robots? Oh my goodness. I'm a truck driver. I probably over the years 4,000 fines. Wow. Mike, what is it? I didn't see the name of Mike Manassas or something. You get wow. How many years you've been driving to get 4,000 fines? Is it worth it still? God damn. Now, I used to be an expediter over the road myself, in a van though, so up to 6 skids I could carry. You'll see the vans at most pilots and Loves and truck stops. That was me. And I got pulled over, I think, once, and the guy let me go or whatever, but 4,000? God. But also, I will tell you this though, when you're driving a truck, first of all, you have your own police in many areas, folks who specifically focus on you, which isn't going to lead to good consequences. But also with a truck, there's far more things to ticket a truck driver on. I mean, you don't get a lot of car drivers that get ticketed for issues regarding their brakes and shit like that. That happens to truck drivers. So even low tread on your tires, which occasionally somebody in the car will get ticketed. Truck drivers get ticketed for that shit all the time. So there's just so much more you can hit a truck driver on. I mean, they all up in your cabin and shit, looking at log books and stuff. A car driver ain't dealing with none of that. Did you know that some police departments get out annual awards for arrest counts, and sometimes those include things like vacations? No, but it's believable. And I'll tell you this: that's one of the reasons why we have such a high incarceration rate in this country, is because every level of law enforcement, from police to prosecutors to judges, right on through to Congress, Senate, politicians, up to the president, every level of our society is rewarded for punishment, not for recidivism, not for getting people's lives back together. It's all the rewards are based on arrests, being tougher on crime, passing more stricter laws, keeping people in prison longer. All of the rewards are given for putting people in. You don't get nobody getting rewarded because you had 10 people under your control and none of them went back to prison. Nobody gets rewards for that shit. How many wardens get rewarded based on how many of their inmates didn't come back? All of the rewards are based on keeping people incarcerated. So it shouldn't surprise you why there's so many people in American prison, because that's where all of the money is. All of the benefits are for keeping people in, not letting them out. Judges who actually have mercy on defendants and give them lower sentences, or maybe give them house arrest instead of prison, they're viewed as bad. You're too soft on crime. We want Judge Judy. We want somebody who's going to get this person life for stealing the candy bar. You steal some, chop his fucking arm off. We want people like that. So as a result, there's a reason. That's the reason why we have an absorbent amount of American citizens in prison. Everybody at every level is rewarded for punishment, not for letting people get their lives back together. Even when you get out, people want you to still be in the system for years and years and years. You don't want a felon to get out and you let them off paper and you stop monitoring them after 2 years. You're being too soft. We want to monitor for 10 years. Or certainly if you abuse a child, we want it for life. We want it forever. We don't want this person to ever be normal again. We don't want them to vote. We don't want them to carry a gun. We don't want them to live in certain neighborhoods. We don't want them to have certain departments. We want them punished forever. That's how the system works in this country. So it doesn't surprise me when you say the police are getting rewards and vacations based on arrests. The whole system is based that way. Looking at the comments, Tim, feds have bonus money for departments, cops, when they make DWI. Yeah, that's another one. DWI arrests and drug possession arrests, etc., which is why there's always a cop making false arrests for money or kudos. Yeah, and I will tell you something too. When we were, back, I can remember back in the 70s and 80s when I was a young kid. You would see people doing a lot of shit where the cops would take them home, or you catch a person driving without a license and they would tell you got to walk home, or even a DUI, they take the keys and throw them in the grass and tell you to get out of here. Nowadays, if you do something where you can be arrested for, you will be arrested. Even as juveniles, if you can be arrested, you will be arrested. It's a lot. The system is a lot less sympathetic, and oddly enough, people still keep bitching and crying about we still too soft on crime. We still too soft. Got some of the toughest penalties for crimes on the planet, outside of like fucking dictatorships. In terms of the free world, you're going to get punished more in America than virtually any other country in terms of the free world. And people still, you're still too soft. I mean, he robbed 10 people and you only gave him 20 years. What? He's 50. You should have kept me for the rest of. We are that tough on people. So yeah, I don't think that's going to change, because we do favor being incredibly strict on crime. And by the way, it's not really bringing down the crime rate. We're really, really tough on crime compared to all of our allies. You name it, throughout Western Europe, Australia, you name it, we are tougher on crime than all of our allies. And we have more crime in our country than most of them too. I went to a customer's house and he said, I'm suspicious. The lady was right there saying he's helping me. And he said, don't park my car in his neighborhood. Ooh, that is a bad one. I don't know where to go with, because what we've gotten to at this point, and I'm going to blame some of this on you right-wing folks. If you watch, because I watch a lot of right-wing media. And as a African American that grew up on the south side of Chicago, once I started watching right-wing media, I'm now critical of black people too. I'm now often concerned about people that I grew up with in neighborhoods because the media coverage on blacks is so fucking negative. So, like he mentioned, people pulling up in driveways. If you some grandpa sitting around watching Fox News all damn day, and you see a car full of black teens pull up in your driveway, maybe they just want to pull up and do a, what do they call it, a Y turn or a J turn and go the other direction. You thinking the worst. You sitting around watching Fox News, that shit is horrible. You would think Chicago is the Gaza Strip if you watch Fox News. It's horrible. So yeah, pulling in the wrong driveway nowadays, it has. I was gonna say it can get you killed. It has. It has gotten people shot. People are fuck around and find out every damn where nowadays. So yeah, it's. I don't know what to say on that, but yeah, I know since I started watching a lot of right-wing media like I do, it has made me far more critical of minorities because it just covers minorities in such a negative light. You would be suspicious if they pulled in your driveway too black or white. We're talking about people getting shot. We're talking about people getting shot. If somebody pulled in my driveway and now if they start getting out of the car, maybe I might be a bit concerned. But just pulling in the driveway and bagging out like what happened in Minnesota where they shot the girl and killed her in the car. No, I'm not that fucking suspicious. I'm not sitting on the couch in the living room with a pistol in my lap looking out the window like I'm Malcolm X. No, I'm not doing that. That's what we're talking about. Oh my God, you're actually saying this out loud. You believe it. You have absolutely guzzled the Kool-Aid, my brother. Well, if you're talking about me stating that I have become more critical of African Americans watching, yeah, it does have that effect. It does have that effect, and I have to sometimes, give myself a subconscious slap to the face, like, dude, you grew up around these people, But yeah, if you watch right-wing media, it portrays African Americans in a terrible light. They're all lazy. They don't stay with their children. They don't work. None of them have a job. I mean, it's bad. It's real bad. And I'm not saying it as propaganda or, I watch it. A lot of it. I watch a lot of right-wing media. It's real bad. So I can understand it. I can understand. And I see it in Cookie Monster says stats also have that effect. Well, yeah, but they're not presenting stats. They'll show you, like, let's say when Black Lives Matter was rioting, they'll show you the same car being set on fire like 8-9 segments in a row. So that it looks like in that town, dozens of cars have been set on fire. But it's really the same car being shown from different angles. I've seen that happen, which is why it's very, very common for folks on the right to talk about whole cities being burned. That just it's an incredible overstatement. If you talk to people on the right, you would think that every single Black Lives Matter gathering resulted in fires and looting. Like I said, I watch a lot of right-wing media. I understand it. I see it. If you're watching it, it's going to have that effect on you because it's had that effect on me. For entertainment, cut and paste. Yeah, it's done for different things. Need to block some of these, what does that say? These presenting stats. Well, you can skew stats to mean whatever you want it to mean. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Trump rightfully points out, because when we're talking about police, we mention police, for instance. Trump rightfully, he's not lying, but he rightfully points out that police shoot more whites than blacks. That's true. But that is a very, very tiny percentage of police brutality cases. The overwhelming majority of people that are abused by police don't get shot. George Floyd didn't get shot. Rodney King did get shot. So if you only judge who is being mistreated by police more based on who gets shot, then yeah, it looks like, well, white people were getting more. No, all of that shit I was just telling you about. Unwarranted searches and seizures, taking people's property. I know a dude who had his whole paycheck taken, and they made him come down to the police station and prove it. He had cashed his paycheck, had a bunch of money in his pocket. You're dealing drugs. God forbid they get a dog and they tell you the dog smells drugs on your money. Now they can take all your money. That's happened to a lot of Americans. That ain't getting shot. It's still horrible treatment by police. That guy it took that guy, I think, like a week to get his money back? Who paid his bills during that time when they took his paycheck from him? That happens to a lot of Americans. So you can skew stats, because if you only use the stat of, well, who's getting shot more by police? It's white people, so they're not mistreating black. Yeah, but you're excluding all the other shit. Who's being stopped and frisked more? Who's having their property seized more? That's when you start adding in, who's getting the beatings more? I mean, it's who's getting wrongfully arrested more? Look into the Innocence Project. I used to have a book behind me, but the Innocence Project regularly does cases and gets people off for charges that they didn't, crimes they didn't commit. The percentage is mostly black people, overwhelmingly mostly black people. The people aren't being shot, but anytime you hear that somebody served a bunch of years in prison for a crime they didn't commit and they've been exonerated, notice how it's almost always a black person. It's almost all. Think about how many are in there that ain't getting out. If you're seeing that many folks getting out, think about how many of them that didn't get out. Maybe some of them died in prison fighting to get. So getting shot doesn't tell the tale. That's all I'm saying. You can play statistics and make things sound the way you want. And per capita is another. I see somebody saying per capita. The long-winded liberal. I like that art mind. And the only reason why I'm long-winded is I can't take calls tonight. My TikTok is down. Otherwise, you would hear me speaking with MAGA and liberals. I like to actually converse with people, but unfortunately, this time I only got you guys done with me on YouTube. Does this format suck or what? You guys don't want me just on YouTube, right? Doesn't this suck? Me taking comments without anybody talking. The long-winded liberal, as he stated. To be a black MAGA, what does that say? To be a black MAGA Sienna. What is a Sienna remake? Ooh, I had to look that one up. What does that mean? I believe stated innocence like an idiot. Thank God for cell phones and cameras. Yeah, you make a good point there, 20 to square. People always say, why all of a sudden did black people started hating police and all? Because when I grew up, police would come to schools and they were viewed as heroes. Well, all of a sudden, people, you know who I blame for why there's so much anti-police sentiment in this country? Steve Jobs, the late founder and CEO of Apple. Steve Jobs. You know why I blame Steve Jobs? He invented, or gets credit for inventing the iPhone. With the invention of the iPhone, and now Samsungs and all these other, with the invention of the smartphone, he basically put a movie studio in the hands of all Americans. Before Steve Jobs, it was people going down to the police station and saying, the police abused me, I want to file a case. Your word against the cop. Oftentimes, somebody like George Floyd with a lengthy criminal record accusing the police of brutality. Nobody's going to fucking believe somebody with a record like George Floyd. But thanks to Steve Jobs, now that same person goes down to file a complaint and he has it on video. It's a lot different now. Doesn't matter what the guy's criminal record is. He has the beating on video. And there are more and more and more Americans showing up at attorneys' offices and showing up at news stations and newspapers with beatings and mistreatments on video. Before Steve Jobs, it was only coming from the mouth. Very easy for a cop who has all of the accolades to say what that guy is saying is not true about me. Can't do it with a video. Once everybody started having video cameras in their hands, the era of police brutality without any accountability came to an end. In fact, it got so bad, a lot of cops have retired. Like, I'm not even fucking with this. I can't get away with what I used to do. They all over us now. You want to rough up a suspect, all of a sudden there's cameras on you every damn where. Remember the old days, for you guys who are old enough, Clint Eastwood, Make My Day, where he has a long-ass 44 Magnum aimed at the suspect, literally begging for the suspect to do something so he'd have an excuse to shoot and kill him. Can't do that on an iPhone. You can do it during those days when you're standing at the bank of a river and nobody's around. Can't do that when a bunch of people filming your ass. Where you're making it clear you would prefer to shoot somebody than arrest somebody. Suddenly you can't do it anymore. And a lot of the older cops can't get with the fact that the Clint Eastwood mentality no longer works in law enforcement. However, there's one saving grace. If Trump gives police immunity, you get it back again. It's your boy Tim, the Handsome Liberal, 1 p.m. Central. I do have to get my ass to bed. I am the long-winded